Grown and sexy, but clean. Grown and sexy, but clean sometimes. That's what's up. We didn't say it was a family show, so there's that. Wait, are we with that?
Well,
this or that? Are we?
I don't know. We all over the place.
Had to come out of retirement. These knees they was snap, cracking, and popping, like a Rice Krispie. But we made it do what it do. But I did take a couple ibuprofens afterwards, though. All right.
Mud Talk with Big T, Shay, and Miss Amy.
Can you count, suckers? Get.
Mud Talk is sponsored by Stormy, the social assistant.
Mud Talk with Big T, Shay, and Miss Amy.
Can you count, suckers? Get busy, y'all. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Mud Talk is sponsored by Stormy, the social assistant. Ramba Mamba Jamba Karaoke Party Bus Experience. Many Faces Podcast Studio. Her Academy of Beauty. Makeup Medic Mobile Makeup Artist. Uniquely. Swilt Products. Fame Studios. SB Geek, and Rita Armour with Key Realty. Go ahead, scan the code, and get tapped in with Mud Talk. Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your homie Big T.
And I'm Shay Renee.
I'm Miss Amy.
And it's your boy Red.
And you listen to the only podcast that brings you the latest in music, news, and fashion, and the only show that keeps your ears to the streets
while you grind in the 419.
Yes. It is Friday, y'all.
Yeah, it is.
Y'all know I love Fridays.
Cheers.
It's the favorite damn day of the week. I love Fridays.
Yes, finally.
Yes. How y'all feeling?
Ooh.
I'm okay besides my voice, so y'all gotta excuse my
hear
voice.
that.
After
You okay?
last show, I woke up the next morning and I didn't have a voice. I still don't have a voice. This is the longest I've ever been hoarse like this, so I don't know.
Got to get you some tea and honey.
You singing in the shower too much or something?
Yeah.
What you doing? Like,
Well, I've been told I still yell, so I need to stop.
You gotta put your voice
kids,
on
huh?
rest. Yeah, get that voice on rest.
Yes.
If you're like a singer, like I'm on rest.
You got to put it on rest. Yes. All right. Well, it is a special edition of Mud Talk today. Today is Viewers Choice Week. And every day.
I'm laughing because you're like every episode is
Every
a special
episode is
edition,
special.
because we are special.
We are
Everything is
special.
special.
Everything is special on Mud
And
Talk.
our viewers are special.
They are
And
very.
absolutely, our
Love
viewers are
y'all.
very special, and it's Viewers Choice Week,
Yes.
where we allowed our viewers to pick the topics that we're going to be talking about today. So we did some posting on social media on Facebook and got some great questions from people that we're going to talk about later in the show. But we have to shout out all the people who listen to Mud Talk or you watch Mud Talk. Shout out to everybody, of course, in Toledo, which is where our home base is. But we have to shout out
Toledo,
people.
Ohio, for people that are
Toledo,
global and
Ohio,
don't
yes.
know.
Mud.
Yes, absolutely. But also shout out to people who listen in Detroit, people who listen in Miami, overseas. Okay, we can't forget about our people
Yeah, New
overseas.
York, we
Yes.
got North Carolina, we got, I think there was an Arizona in there at one point.
Yes, Arizona, North Carolina, and then also overseas with Germany and London and Australia and
Yes.
all over, man.
Those
So
Russians.
the Russians love us. they listen to us.
I
at
think they're the
3
ones
o'clock
with
in the
the,
morning.
yeah, they're the 3 o'clock, but really over there it's probably
Right.
like normal
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So, but we appreciate everybody who tunes into Mud Talk every single time that we are live and on air. Shout out to all of our listeners on Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Sirius Radio, and and everywhere
Too.
else. Yes, that everybody listens to. So we appreciate it. iHeartRadio as well too.
Yeah.
So yes,
Heart y'all.
We, oh, look at you, Red. Look at you
Maybe
being
like
all
this. You gotta do like the heart.
Yeah.
Thing. Oh, you got the heart, like the heart. Oh.
Okay.
Red been all sentimental and shit
I
today.
know,
on
I
the
love
show.
that.
That's what's up. All right. Well, y'all know before we get started with anything else, I have to give y'all what's called Big T with the T.
Big tips.
What?
What? Let's try that again.
It's the
Not big tips.
You know this.
That's not late night mud talk. Let's
No,
be
that's
real.
after 9, Red.
Oh,
But y'all know
okay,
what we call
okay.
it Big T with the T. No sound effect, Red.
He's trying.
That's okay. All right.
Oh,
So
Lord.
anyway, let's get into the news today. So first off, we're going to talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce. And all of our news today comes from TMZ. As always, shout out to TMZ for always looking out for us. So Jay-Z and Beyonce have just snagged one of the greatest masterpieces in the country, a 30,000 square foot home in the prime area of Malibu. And they paid a hefty price for it. Real estate sources told TMZ the couple paid $200 million for the property, making it the most expensive home ever sold in the entire state of California, eclipsing the previous record of $177 million. It is also the second most expensive real estate deal in the country, the top being $238 million for an New York City apartment.
Oh,
I know.
What?
Yeah, so there was an apartment in New York City that
Mm.
cost $238 million.
Nah, I take Malibu.
Yeah. So the house sits on an 8-acre bluff overlooking the Pacific Ocean in the Paradise Cove area, also known as Billionaires Row, which is obviously where Beyonce and Jay-Z probably should be. The home is the couple's second massive real estate purchase in the Los Angeles area that we know of. Back in 2017, they purchased a Bel Air mansion for $88 million and pumped millions more into the home to push it over the $100 million mark.
They still have that?
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe they sold it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
so.
mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't even know about the real estate transactions. I was just thinking that's a lot of. You take the 200 million plus the 100 and some million. That's a lot of real estate.
It is. That's a lot of, and that's a lot of renovations done just to sell it too.
That's
but-
a lot in taxes every year. Like,
That's what she
Yes.
I think they can afford it though. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the power couple.
well, I heard she was going through some things with the tax, the IRS. So
Like they were giving her lots of money to buy real
no,
estate.
basically she owes the IRS, and it's not like she has way more money than she owed the IRS.
Yeah.
I
So
said
it's
she
not
just
a
said,
big
"Fuck it,
deal.
I'm going to buy a $200 million mansion just to say a big F you to the government."
I'm about to say,
Right.
and still don't give Uncle
Mhm.
Sam his money. So, all right. In other news, Fetty Wap is back in court. So, yes. So, do you remember Fetty Wap? Everybody
I
remember
love
Fetty Wap?
Fetty,
We
yeah.
love
Yeah.
Fetty Wap. Yes. So, Fetty Wap is begging the judge in his federal drug trafficking case to only sentence him to the mandatory minimum. But the feds, they want him locked up for a whole lot longer. According to new legal docs obtained by TMZ, Fetty is seeking a 5-year sentence after pleading guilty to conspiracy to distribute at least 500 grams of cocaine stemming from his October 2021 arrest. The rapper's legal team told the judge Fetty accepts full responsibility for his crimes, but his conduct here does not and should not define him. And they attached a bunch of letters from his family and friends speaking on his behalf, who say Fetty was just trying to provide for them financially. Uncle Sam sees it completely different, though. In the documents, the feds want Fetty to spend 7 to 9 years behind bars, claiming he participated in a massive drug trafficking organization that flooded Long Island with cocaine. The Office of U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Breon Peace, also says leniency isn't really warranted here, saying Fetty has used and continues to use his fame and sizable platform and influence to glamorize the drug trade. May 24th is his sentencing, so it would be interesting to see what the judge decides.
So don't mind my not knowledge of coke. Is that like a brick? Is that like multiple bricks?
Yes.
Yes.
How many bricks?
So
Coke is coke. One
No, I just
brick
want to
is
know how
coke.
much. Like I know. I just want to know how much. Like 500 grams. Is that what you said?
it'll be like one brick is 1,000 kilos.
I don't. That's a lot of
basically.
math.
So it's like, yeah.
How many grams?
So you got to think 1,000 grams is like $7,000 worth of money. So,
Oh,
So 500 grams is a lot of bricks.
That's a lot of bricks.
Yeah,
and
that's
that,
a
you
lot
know
of
why they
bricks.
wrote those letters? Because their coke plugs about to get put in
Yeah,
jail.
so-
That's why they're
and see,
mad.
that's the thing with these artists. They always set themselves up for failure while trying to be a celebrity and also still be in the streets and try to deal with the dope game and everything. You can't set yourself if you're a millionaire, but you still want to sell dope. You got to pick a side.
Absolutely.
I think they miss
You
the
gotta pick a
excitement
side.
though. I think there's just that thrill of
Why
like the,
though? You already rap about it. You're already snitching on yourself in your raps.
right.
Yes.
So
But there's an
why
excitement.
still do it?
It's that.
And
It's
then
that
you
rush.
wouldn't even think
I don't
that
know.
was coming from Fetty Wap.
Really?
I
You
never
never
thought
think
it
that?
would come from Fetty Wap,
I
but
mean,
you
well,
never
you
know.
can't say he doing it for the kids because he don't take care of his kids. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
right there makes me.
I
don't care
seriously
what
think they
happens.
do it for the rush. Like he doesn't have to make.
They
that
do it
money.
for themselves.
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say too, and we're going to talk about this with John Morant. Some people just can't leave that life alone.
That life
Mhm.
alone.
As the
at
saying,
all.
as the saying goes, you can take somebody out the hood, but
You
But
can't
you can't take the
out
hood
of
out
her.
that
Take the hood out of
person.
him.
I'm gonna hold my comment, but Ja wasn't from the hood, right?
no, but he's
Like,
he
but
was
decided to
nerd.
go into the hood.
yes, and now he can't stop doing hood
Because
shit.
it's that thrill, it's that excitement,
got-
that adrenaline rush.
We're gonna
that-
get to that. We're gonna
Yes.
get to that.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna
Yes, we
get to
are.
that.
All right. In positive news, though, Good Burger is returning back to the screen. If you remember the movie from the 90s.
Yes.
Yes.
They
So
should have just opened a franchise.
they should. But one cool thing that Nickelodeon did, this is not the T, but before COVID, I think. Yes. So it was before COVID. They brought back All That, which y'all remember from Nickelodeon, and they actually had a mobile truck, like a Good Burger truck that went around different states, and they set up shop and sold Good Burgers. So that was pretty dope.
I've
That was
been
on
looking for that
Nickelodeon?
secret sauce
Have
all
you-
my
have-
life.
Have anyone of us ever had a Good Burger?
I have not.
I don't honestly.
Where do they sell them at?
I don't.
Well, so it wasn't a thing, but they made up like a truck so people can go.
Oh,
Like a-
okay.
like a-
So where was that truck located?
So when the show came back, it was mostly in LA.
Oh, okay.
So
But here's the thing. So that show was on Nickelodeon. So like you guys, that was probably like in your preteen.
well,
Yeah,
I was a
childhood.
child.
Right. So
Yeah.
for me, I have no idea what you're saying right now because I was like kind of beyond that Nickelodeon stage at that point.
Oh. So
I
all
didn't
that
know this.
was kind of like the kid version of Saturday Night Live.
Got you.
And so that's how Kenan and Kel got their start. So
Gotcha.
they
Okay.
took off from all that. Then they had the show Kenan and Kel. Then Good Burger
Gotcha.
happened, and then that's
Okay.
how that happened. So all that, if all my people who are listening and watching, all that was all that. It was amazing. It was
And all
great.
my people that are my age that are watching, we have no idea what you're saying.
Yes, just picture Saturday Night Live with
With kids, which is
There
what
you go.
I'm sad I missed that now.
yes. So, but Good Burger was originally a sketch
Yeah.
that was on all that. But
And that featured Amanda Bynes, right?
yes,
And
Yeah.
she recently was just found wandering around naked.
yeah,
Good
she's
for her.
she's going through a
He
lot
said
of
good for her.
She living that life. Right?
She's
Is that
on
a
that
mental
Good
health thing, or
Burger.
did she just get
She-
caught
I
walking
I think it
naked?
was a mental health.
Mental
thing.
health
She was
issue.
put
She's been going
into
through a
It
lot.
happens to
a
a lot of
72-hour
those.
hold.
Like, was she
yeah.
like out in public?
Yes.
Yes.
Like,
Oh.
butt naked.
Those
in
child
public.
stars. That's
Yes.
what that was,
Yeah.
right?
But
Yes.
she's been dealing with mental health issues for
Yeah.
quite some time. So,
Yeah.
but so Good Burger's returning to the big screen with Kenan and Kel. The sequel is going to be called Good Burger 2, and they started actually shooting yesterday, Thursday, in North Providence, Rhode Island, around 8 a.m. TMZ was told production completely transformed a vacant Friendly's ice cream shop into the new Good Burger joint and gave it a complete 90s facelift to fit the movie. There is no official release date, but it is expected for Kenan and Kel to return full time to the roles for the movie.
So this is not going to be where they hire new kids. It's going to be where they come in as adults, kind of like they're doing with a lot of the
Yeah.
remakes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Is it? I'm
That's
hoping
dope.
it's their restaurant. They're running it together.
that would be pretty dope.
Basically,
Yes.
yeah.
I
that'd
got
be
some.
dope.
I got some research to do later because.
And then marketing afterwards. Like I said, y'all can sell that secret sauce.
They really could.
Yes.
That would be dope.
was there. So there's a sauce.
You never seen the movie Good Burger?
No.
No, she hasn't.
Oh wow.
No, this was beyond my time.
We're gonna. That's
Oh,
another
I was
white girl
living my
thing that
best
we're gonna have
naughty
to
White
get her.
girl watches Good Burger.
Yeah.
I was living
We're
my
gonna tie
best
her down to
teenage
the chair
college
like
years.
an undercover brother.
Yeah,
All things
have you
black.
ever watched
All things
Undercover Brother?
black.
What?
Have you ever watched Undercover Brother?
No, I don't watch
Oh
anything.
wow.
I don't watch movies.
Well, you got some homework to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got a
All right.
long drive tomorrow. Maybe I'll
Maybe you
find
will.
it.
All right. Well, that was Big T with the tea. And even though I got some tea, I'm gonna spill it here first on Mud Talk. So we kind of were discussing earlier about the whole Ja Morant situation. If you don't know about Ja Morant, he got caught a second time waving a gun on Instagram Live. And so a lot of people who were kind of supporting him the first time, saying he's just a kid, give him a break, give him another chance. Well, they are not exactly supporting him this time, especially Stephen A. Jackson, who told him pretty much he was a dumbass.
Yeah.
Stephen A. Jackson was one of the people who supported him, was saying like, hey, like he's a kid, learn from his mistakes. But this time, a lot of people are just like, yeah, we're done with him. So he's been losing endorsements left and right from Gatorade, Nike, any endorsement you can think about. He is, if he hasn't lost it, he's losing it. So I want to know, what do you guys think about this situation?
I definitely understand because guns are not toys, and you are I believe NBA, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You are an NBA player, which means you have children looking up to you and they watch the things you do. So if you feel like that's okay behavior for you to have as an adult, how do you think those kids are going to internalize that message?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
looking up to you.
You have to
Yes.
be that role model. You made that commitment.
And he didn't have to have that life. Like I was saying earlier, he was
Mhm.
not from that life.
Not
And
at all.
I have a little bit more empathy from somebody who came from that life.
Mhm.
And it's hard to remove yourself from your friends and family and what you knew growing up. But when you didn't come from that life and you said, okay, I'm going to go into that life, and like you said, got addicted to it and started doing their thing,
Yeah.
that's not a good example. That's a choice. That is a personal choice.
Yes.
It's not like, it's a lot harder, I think, for somebody that's in the spotlight to leave their family, their friends, their neighborhood, if that's where they came up.
Mhm.
He didn't come up like that.
Yeah.
This is just all choice.
Yeah, he definitely didn't come up like that. I've seen high school photos of him when he had on glasses and he was looking like a nerd and everything like that. So it's like, once you get into that limelight, once you get that fame, once you get that money, I mean, we don't know his childhood, how he came up or anything like that, but as black people, as black men, superstars, once you put money in front of our face, sometimes we tend to get a little crazy.
Mhm.
So, but he was around the wrong crowd, the wrong individuals. Maybe some of his people that he did grow up in the hood with, they lured him on to that somewhat gangster style, but he didn't need to be in that.
Yeah.
So I just hope that he sits down and figure out like, hey, you're gonna have to pick a side. Simple
I don't
as
even
that.
know if he's going to have
Yes.
that choice to pick a side.
Not at all.
He's losing
After this,
endorsements left and
this,
right.
Well, and he's suspended from the Grizzlies,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it's a wrap. But
and then this is the second time too. So
yes,
Right, which is
Yeah.
why I understand, but I don't agree
Yeah.
because, like you said, he didn't grow up in that lifestyle. It was a choice. At what point, as an adult, do you take accountability?
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Right.
these are your actions. You were given a pass once for you to turn back around
and do the
and
same.
slap
thing.
everybody in the face who supported you and do the same thing. At this point, no.
and this is my thing about it. The thing is that the people who were supporting him were like, well, I mean, but it's kind of like when they're like, well, I wasn't at work when I did it. It doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
still represent
You're
the
representing.
league.
You're in the
The league.
spotlight.
And they say in the contract for the NBA, this
Yeah.
is a violation.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
cannot do that.
You
So
can't
regardless
smoke,
if you're
you
in the
can't
car,
drink.
regardless if you're at a bar, I don't care if you're at church. You have to represent the team at all times
Yeah.
because, like Shay said, people are watching you.
Yeah.
You have role models. So being that you are a basketball player, you think people are not watching you
They're
24/7?
Yeah.
Even if you go to Walmart, people are going to watch you. You
Yeah.
could be buying a loaf of bread, and that's it.
They're gonna judge you on the brand that you're buying.
On the brand that you're buying, like they
Yeah.
just people. That's just how it is when it comes to the NBA. So for people to say like, "Oh well, he wasn't doing this or doing that," doesn't matter. You're just on social media. You're representing the NBA, and you're representing not only yourself but your teammates.
Well,
But look though, it's not even that he's on social media himself. He's allowing his friends or his
Very true.
surrounding
Yeah.
people that's around him post and go live and everything. You should
Yes.
have the upper level to say, hey, no,
I'm not.
I'm not going on live.
That's like Ralph said. Remember when he said his nephew played in the league and his job, he used to go around with him and pull him out of situations
Yeah.
because
yes,
he
you should
surrounded
be-
himself with that.
Yes, you should be more smarter than that. Like,
You
hey, bro,
definitely gotta
I'm
be
not
careful
don't put
of
me in that
company you
situation.
keep.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
But
my
not,
thing
only, not
is-
only that, I was just
Yeah,
saying,
go ahead.
not only that, I watched a video of a Crip, like one of the lead Crips, and he was like, he's throwing up gang signs here and there. He's like, bring him to the hood. Because here's the thing. He goes, the kids in my neighborhood, the kids that are in my gang that you're saying that you represent that you absolutely don't. He goes, they would kill to be in the spot that you're in.
Absolutely.
And he was like, so I don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the interview. It was like with one of the Crips in California. I don't know how the whole thing works, but like but I don't know the whole gang theory thing. But he was one of the big ones in California. But he literally said, come to my hood. Let's show you what it's like if
Yeah.
you want to throw signs. And he's like, because we're not about that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think
if you as a NBA basketball player feel like you have to carry a gun around with you, you got enough money to go hire some damn security.
he doesn't feel like that. That people are
No,
saying that
but
that's
I'm
not
just
even
saying-
what that's about.
No, but I'm just saying, you having a gun on you, even his reason could be, I just want to feel like I got to be gangster with it. If
Yeah.
you got to feel like you have to feel like that, then get you some damn security. You make enough money to have
I don't
security.
even think it's a security thing. I don't think
It's
I
just
don't
him
think
wanting to show.
that's-
It's wanting to
that
show
people
off.
are saying that they're like, get security. I'm like, that's not even a security thing. That is him wanting to flash his gun, just like all the kids do. I say kids. That I just sounded real old. Just like all people. Like you got people on social media saying, "Look at my guns, look at my money, look at this."
Mhm.
That was just him trying to flash what he's doing.
but it actually happened to another basketball player. I can't think of his name right now. He got caught with a gun in his luggage in his bag
Mhm.
a couple years ago, like probably like 10 years ago. And they suspended and
Yeah.
dropped him from the league.
Yeah.
Just because.
See, and
he
that
had
one, I could see
weapon.
maybe that was for protection.
You know?
That one. I mean, he wasn't over there
Yeah.
flashing it on social
No, he
media.
wasn't
he wasn't
flashing.
flashing.
He just got caught with
Yeah.
it. You know, so
All I'm gonna say is John Morant, you better learn how to speak Chinese real quick because they're gonna ship your ass over.
Yeah.
play
But don't take
basketball
anything in
over
your luggage.
Chinese.
You're
Don't
gonna
take
have
none
to
of your
say it.
luggage.
I'm gonna say it like this: just like the law, ignorance is not an excuse. Period.
Yeah, it's not at all.
So
And he's not. I wouldn't even say ignorant. He's just being immature and childish, and
Yeah.
he needs to do better. And
no, I feel like it's real ignorant. If
Yeah,
you already got a
super
pass once and then
yes,
you go do it again, you're being ignorant, and that's what gives us
By
as a
choice.
people a bad name.
Yeah.
yes.
But see, all right, I'm thinking like, is there like somewhat of a like Illuminati with this, like to where they're
Wait, what?
forcing this on him
To carry a gun, like to do what?
to do all these ignorant acts that he's doing?
I
You know
don't
what
think
I'm
so.
saying?
I think it's just him being young and dumb and want to
Yeah.
impress people, and he's being impressed or being influenced by the wrong people.
He's
Yeah.
self-sabotaging.
He
Yeah,
is.
that's exactly
If
what
you're
that is.
self-sabotaging, you shouldn't be in the league, man. You are a superstar.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they
You
don't
are-
always. They don't always grasp that here.
Right.
You might
Again,
be a superstar, but
Right.
it hasn't
they're
hit
young,
here
so
yet.
their maturity level and mental level isn't to that.
How old is he?
He's like 29.
he's younger than that, isn't he? Like in his early 20s.
Do I need to Google this?
Let's Google.
I just want to know
Let's
because like
fact check
because
real
I
quick.
can do some brain talk right now that your brain is not fully developed until you are at least 25. And so that means that you can't fully understand the consequences of your actions. So you act and then you think.
Yeah.
And my problem, I'm with you. He acted, didn't think, people gave him the pass. That should have been the lesson. I'm good
What
with
you
one
gotta
more.
think?
So he's 23.
Yeah, so he's
23,
not
okay.
yeah.
And he's sitting around older superstars that I feel like nobody even tried to sit down and give him a lesson. Like, hey,
Yeah,
you
where
know,
was his team?
But see, I
Yeah.
won't even say this because this is what I'm going to say. The young people today, talking to them is not working.
Mm-mm.
not the young people. I'm talking about the veterans, though.
No, but what I'm saying is, even if he could have had people that told
Trying to
him,
pull him out, yeah.
like, say, hey, the first time you got to pass, don't do that shit again. This is because this is what can happen. The young people today, and I'm speaking from an educator standpoint and just in period as an adult, the young people today, talking to them doesn't work.
And they need to know why. And if you can't tell them why,
Yes,
and a good reason why, then they're not going to
because even
That's
after you
facts.
explain it to them, obviously they're going to do it again. They have, for this generation, it's all about learning by experience.
I wish that if there was a veteran that was going to step up, I wish they would have stepped up and not just talked to them. I don't know. This is just, I don't know. But if somebody should have pulled them in and been like, you are with me.
Yeah.
Let me show
Sometimes
you.
it's the people around you that want to see you fail. The most.
Absolutely. That
So
was
that's
actually
why
my
you always
FYF
have
today.
to look out for number one.
Yes.
You have to make
Yourself.
those conscious decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Well, and then the people that's around him, why are we going live? What, you want to go live because John Miranda is in the passenger seat? So
Yeah.
you got to show like, I really know him
right
yeah.
now. Yeah, like yeah.
Which means those are the people you should be
That you
exiting out of your life immediately.
Exactly.
Watch the company you keep.
Exactly.
Period.
Because if you know that we're about to go do something that probably won't look good on me for the league or whatever, I'm already scrutinized. So with that being said, I don't need you going live. I already have enough pressure. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they for me, his friends, they did it wrong in the video. I
Yeah.
mean, I know in the video they showed the dude like tried to like put the camera away from him. But at the end of the day, why are you even going
That's-
live in the first
That
place?
split
Correct.
second will catch anything.
Yes.
Just like how it was when he was at the club with the girls and everything, like
Mhm.
all of that. Like
And then even with that situation, would have been fine that he was at the strip club. The strip club wasn't a problem. It's the fact that you're waving a gun around in a strip club.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And again, got caught on Instagram Live because you are with the wrong people.
Yep.
So John
Well,
Morant,
if he was out in the open, then
Shouldn't he
kind
be,
of
like,
brung that on
practicing
he
yourself.
brought
in
this on
basketball or
himself. I don't know.
something?
He needs to practice a lot of shit. So I don't know, but
you
yeah,
can't change the people around you.
There it is.
Change the
Change
people
the
around
people
you.
people
around
around you. So
Oh, that's gonna.
Simple as that.
yes. All right. Well, Miss Amy, it is mental
Oh,
health.
shit. Hold on. I was pouring my drink and then I got this like foam coming out. Okay, hold on.
So it is Mental Health Awareness Month, if everybody did not know. So we here on Mud Talk, of course, we take mental health very seriously. It's one of our top priorities. We have merch that's available that we donate the proceeds towards organizations that focus on Black men's mental health. And so we feel like it was very important today to address, mental health because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So what you got for us, Miss Amy?
So today I didn't really know what I was going to talk about because Mental Health Awareness Month is just what does that mean? I could have talked about that, organizations. I could have said the same thing we say all the time, which is go to counseling. But what I started thinking about was, so like Shay, after our last show, I ended up walking out of here and feeling kind of sick. And after I was feeling sick, I did go out to celebrate my son's 21st birthday, came home on Sunday, felt awful, went to work Monday, left, and I was off work for like the whole rest of the last week. And at about Wednesday, I was kind of sitting in my room and I was thinking about, man, if we took care of our mental health the way that we take care of our physical health, we would have a lot more people who are a lot healthier. And let me kind of explain what that means. So I'm real big on the minute I start to get sick, I am big on, so what did I do? Oh, so I started taking my vitamins. I got this whole vitamin concoction that I take, like when I start to feel sick, to try to build my immune system. And, I was taking about a 32-minute nap to an hour nap just to try to feel better. And every night I was getting in the bath and taking an Epsom salt bath, because Epsom salt actually helps replenish some of the nutrients in your body, and it helps to, kind of get some of the toxins out. And while I'm sitting in the bath, I'm not just going to sit there for 20 minutes. So I was sitting in there and I always listened to like a meditation, or I was listening to like a inspirational talk. I would get out of the bath. I would put on some comfy clothes. I was going to bed at a decent time. My phone was off. My emails were off. My stress level was down. And I started thinking like, God, first of all, if I started taking care of my physical health when I'm not sick, and if I started taking care of my mental health and doing those things that I just said that are very mental health smart before I was mentally unhealthy, then I might actually be in a better physical and mental health state. And so what I think we tend to do is we tend to wait till we're physically sick before we take care of our physical health,
Right.
before we visit the doctor. We tend to wait until we are mentally unhealthy, till we are stressed out to the point of exploding, or until we're to the point of depression. I can't get out of bed. And I'm not talking about right now. I just want to make this very clear. I'm not talking about the fact that you have a mental health disorder. I want to separate that, because that's different. That actually addresses the brain chemicals in your brain. So some people actually have a mental health diagnosis of a chemical difference in the brain. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about our general overall mental health as humans. If we didn't wait until we were mentally unhealthy to address our mental health, we would be much healthier with our mental health. And so I guess my encouragement is to think about how can you increase and improve your mental health before you're mentally unhealthy.
Right.
And the same thing with physical health. But, so I started thinking about, like, what do I need to do? I talked about doing a self-care Sunday. So I do a self-care Sunday because, work gets really stressful. And when you're working with other people's mental health, I have to be very mentally healthy because I'm taking on everybody else's everything. So on Sundays, but I'm like, I can't just limit this to a Sunday.
Right.
And my encouragement is that you're not just limiting it to, and mental health, self-care is a part of that, but that's not all of mental health. And then, I started thinking about, we wait until we're sick to go to the doctor. And some people will kind of refuse to go get those well checks. And we're very encouraged to go get well checks. We shouldn't be waiting until we're mentally unhealthy to go see a counselor either, and to get that mental health and that mental support. Now, if you're mentally unhealthy, for sure, go get that mental health support. If you're physically sick, go to the doctor. But if we just allowed ourselves the space to be able to create a situation every day, I'm not saying you have to do all those things. Shoot, I don't have time to take a bath and take a nap. And I was off work, but just trying to create some sort of space in every day where you're addressing your mental health. And I'm not just saying through self-care necessarily, but it's through addressing those things that are causing yourself that could potentially lead you down the path of being mentally unhealthy. And so I guess my encouragement is to try to find that for yourself, whatever that looks like. If you need to go start seeing somebody before the mental health becomes a problem, do it. If you need to create a space where you're actually processing through emotions and asking yourself, like, one of the things that is suggested is to ask yourself, like, what were 3 emotions that you felt today? And what was happening right before you felt that? What was happening when you were feeling that emotion? And what happened after? And just simply, that's a simple exercise to just process through those emotions, because sometimes we tend to push our emotions away. And when you push them away enough, you hold it in, and eventually it'll come out in some way or the other. So that could be a space. It could just be simply brain dumping into a journal, just whatever comes to your brain, once a day. It could be, and I'm not even going to say calling a friend and venting. That's great for mental health. But I think a lot of times people just consider that to be, okay, I vented to a friend, I'm good. And that doesn't, yes, that could address mental health, but that doesn't substitute for the other aspects of mental health that we need to do. So if you need to vent, but also address other aspects of mental health every day.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that could be damaging, because that's where you get the bad advice.
Yep. Yeah, the advice that's not looking and the not neutral advice, that maybe somebody doesn't keep what you're I'm not saying it's bad. You should definitely get things out. Like I actually called some of you that's watched the show, Greg, yesterday. I actually just texted him, and it's been a while since I've done this. And I said, can I call you? I need to vent. I don't do that often, but I had so much, I could feel it. Like I felt it bubbling up, and I remembered, I was like, nope, you're going to start taking care of your mental health before it becomes a problem. That's what I needed yesterday. Today, what I needed is I needed some deep breaths. And I did that before my day got hectic. I knew a Friday at my job working with, 11 to 15-year-olds on a Friday in the spring when it's sunny out, a week before school's over, it was going to be a mess.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to deep breathe now, and I'm going to take care of my mental health before it becomes unhealthy. So that's my word. Take care of your mental health the way you would take care of yourself and your physical health, and take care of your mental health before it becomes unhealthy.
Absolutely.
And so what I'm going to do, because I very, very, very much believe in this. The other thing that I do at my job is I am the wellness coordinator. And so my job is to come up with ways that people can address their wellness all around. And so our most recent challenge that I came up with is we're all doing a 30-day challenge. And everybody could pick whatever part of their life they wanted to work on. But two of the challenges involved mental health. And what it is a 30-day challenge where I have a calendar, and I'm going to actually post that on our Mud Talk Facebook page. And you can get the calendar right there. And it's not mine. It came from a bunch of different sources. Don't sue me or anything. I don't know. But it's basically every single day you do one thing to just address your mental health. And it might be something to address your mental health in a way that's causing you to laugh or address your emotions or journal. But I'm going to post that in case anybody just feels like they want to try it. You can do anything for 30 days. And if at the end of the 30 days it doesn't work with you, then stop doing it. But what I've noticed, I'm actually doing my challenge. I'm actually doing a fitness challenge. I'm doing a full body fitness, which I don't know why I picked that because my body is killing me. But you know what? I've noticed a change in my body, and I want to keep exercising after I'm done, which tells me, and I've had coworkers of mine say, I'm doing your mental health one, and I want to keep doing mental health things. Do you have another one I can do after this challenge is over? Because all it is just one simple exercise every day to help some aspect of your mental health. Another one is a mental health and walking challenge. So it combines exercise and mental health. So it's just trying to get a certain number of steps a day. And it's not an extreme amount. It's you might have to work a little bit and take a walk outside, but it's walking and mental health. And then I have one, I believe that's like a self-care. Yeah. So I'm going to post that because I just want to challenge everybody to start taking care of their mental health before they become unhealthy.
Absolutely. And one of the things, and I have no problem with venting because like we said, we all need to vent. But before you vent, make sure you ask that person, is it okay?
Yeah.
Are you in a space to vent?
Like I said, I texted him. I said, can I call you? I need to vent.
Yes, because we need to make sure that, the person that you're venting to, they may have already had their own bad day, got their own problems going on. So now they're trying to deal with their own, and then you come in and putting something else on top of it. We have to be careful because that could be damaging somebody else's mental health. So please make sure you ask them to vent before you do it.
And if you ever need any other resources, please reach out. I'm more than happy to reach out to anybody and help you find some resources, connect you with local resources. Because here's the thing, we also sometimes we do have mental health diagnosis that we do need to get addressed and get ourselves back to the point where we are mentally healthy.
Absolutely.
And no judgment at all whatsoever. We all get to that point.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Amy, for that Mental Health Matters moment. Like she said, we'll be posting those mental health calendars on our Facebook Mud Talk page. I couldn't think of it for a minute.
We are a podcast called Mud Talk.
We are a podcast called Mud Talk. We will be
You're not even drinking, are you?
I know. No, I'm not. So, but we will be posting that resource on our Mud Talk Facebook page. And like we said earlier, Mud Talk is always here for you guys.
And you know what? If you do it, tell me.
Yes.
Like I want to hear about it. Like if you have success, I'd like to hear about it. So if you choose to do it, reach out, message us, and if you need some encouragement, I'm more than happy to help encourage you because it can get a little bit tough.
It can, yep. And so Mud Talk is always here for you guys. You ever just need to vent, you got we have a phone number. You can text or call 419-827-8255, or you can shoot us inbox on Facebook, Mud Talk, or also our email, which is 419mudtalk@gmail.com. All right. So it is time for Tips with T, Red.
Big T with the T.
Nope.
Oh, God. Red, you still got it wrong.
I do that always.
No. This is Tips.
This was
Tips
Tips with
I know
T,
it's
Red.
Let's
Tips
rewind
with
that.
T.
There we go.
Damn, Red. We're gonna put you.
This is Big T with the
Hey,
big
they
tip.
gonna fire me after this.
We're gonna put your ass behind the booth again.
Yeah, they about to fire me after this. But no, we have Big T
Big tips.
with the tips.
There we go.
At least I gave you the big tips. Jesus.
All right. So Tips with T is where I give you 5
Tips
things.
with T. That's what it's Tips with tea.
Tips with
We're gonna
tea.
write that down next time.
Please do.
Just have a little notepad right here.
I got you.
So tips with tea is where I give you guys 5 things of what you should or should not do. And today we're talking about what you should or should not do this summer. So because this
Just in
is
general, just this whole summer.
but this summer,
Got
no,
it.
because people like to act up during the summertime.
Oh, they do.
And I want to have fun in summer, so I don't have time for the bullshit. So I need y'all to act accordingly. And as the Yin Yang twin said, if you don't know how to act, keep your ass where you at. Okay. So if you don't know how to act, keep your ass at home. So so this week, like we said, is Viewers Choice Week. And so I did make a post on Facebook to our viewers because I wanted to know
Did
what
I
they
comment
thought.
on that?
You did not.
In my head, I did.
So, but I'm gonna ask you guys too. So just be ready. So Trisha Alexander says, what we're not doing this summer is fighting with our baby daddies and significant others. Just leave the motherfucker where they
I
at.
got real.
I see.
I'm not fighting with
You
anybody.
good?
A little
I swear.
antsy over there, man.
All right. So, but again, Trisha Alexander said, what we're not doing, we're not fighting with our baby daddy and significant others. Just leave the motherfucker where they at. Oh, and this summer we drinking, not drinking, but
Drinking.
drinking.
And if you
Yeah.
are gonna fight with your baby daddy, do it with the windows open so I can hear it. I'm just kidding.
So you,
I'm just kidding.
Amy with the tea.
Right. I'll have all the tea.
Tierra Orr says, what we're not doing this summer is going to any events that doors open at 10 because we need to be either out or already coming back in. I'm all for that. Like if you say doors open at 10, my door is open to go home because I'm not being that's late. That's late.
I remember the first time one of my younger friends, like way younger than all of us, said we're about to go out, and I was like, okay, cool. So I'm ready. It's 7 p.m. I was ready to go. I go in there and they're all sleeping. I was like, what the hell? And they're like, it's 7.
7.
And I was like, oh, but when did we go? They're like 11. And I was like, I'm in bed, or at least at home in the house at 11.
Yes.
That was an adjustment in life.
Yes. So I said this summer we're not doing any unorganized trips. If they ain't got the funds to go, then stay at home. We're not doing that. I'm not a fan of unorganized trips because if you say, what is this? So this is May. When July comes and you like, oh well, I can't go because we've already had this planned out. So I do not like that. So we're not doing that. And then I also said, if it ain't a day party, then count me out. Like I can't do it. COVID taught me really well that the older you get, the more rest that you need. So if the party ain't cracking by 3 or 4, 5 is the latest, I'm probably not going
Day
to come.
party.
I am
That's
such,
that's such
I
an
am such
educator
a day
thing.
party.
That's us educators. We love those day parties. In the
I
summer.
love those day parties. I love me a good brunch and mimosa. You know what I'm saying? During the summertime, a patio party.
Yes.
But anything after 5 o'clock, I'm probably not going to come.
If it ain't good
'cause-
vibes, it ain't for me. So
Right, absolutely.
That's what we're not doing. We're not having bad vibes this summer.
No matter what time it is, huh?
nope.
Nope.
Yeah. I'm already, like you said, I'm already in the bed about 7, 8 o'clock. Shit,
All right. I mean, I guess I'll
30,
hang out
yeah.
with you guys late night. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm the late nighter, I guess.
So for you guys, what are some things that we are absolutely not doing this summer?
We are not acting foolish to the point where nobody else in the city can go do anything in these awesome events that people are doing because we are
Yes.
ruining things and
Yes.
people do not want to come out to these events. So stop acting
And
foolish
they be the first people to say, ain't nothing to do in
Yeah.
Toledo.
because you're acting foolish and
Yeah,
you're
right.
ruining it for
Right.
everybody else. So stop it.
Because you and your cousins and them pulled up and acted a fool.
Yes. Or you
No
coulda
foolish
just-
behavior.
If you don't know how to act, keep your ass where you at.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What
No
about you,
foolish
Red?
behavior.
What we done doing this summer is shit. What we not doing this summer?
You tell us.
Oh man, I gotta think about this one. I'll pass on this. Come back to me. I got one.
What we not doing this summer is being broke. It's too
Definitely.
much money
Okay,
out here.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel
So
that.
in summer is the perfect time to move around, do what you gotta do, and
And if you need some help, they can tap into our last episode.
yes,
Because there was a whole
yes.
episode on how you can get yourself in the bag. So go do that.
Hello.
Okay,
Thank you,
okay.
Michael Allen Jr. and
Yeah,
Josh
thank
Fee.
you.
I got you. What we not doing this summer is being a hater.
Yes, I like that
Yes,
one.
Definitely not.
I don't like people who hating on other people's success.
Ooh, that
Like-
was about to be my FYF this week.
Like, don't do that, man.
Mhm.
If you see me coming up, doing my best, living my life, don't get mad at me. Maybe you need to learn some advice from me. You know,
Yeah.
just don't
That's a
be
good-
a
that's a
hater.
great-
Take notes.
Just don't be a hater.
Don't be a hater. Absolutely not.
Don't
We're
be a
not
hater.
haters.
Yeah.
What else are we not doing this summer?
This summer, well, obviously not me, but ladies, this summer, wear y'all good bras. I'm tired of seeing women with bad bras. I don't.
Why did you just look at our both of our trips?
No, well, because
Did you see that? Did you see his eyes look at both of our tits?
because
I gotta sit on.
I know y'all got good bras.
No, this is a Walmart one.
No,
and
this is Fitzy, honey.
See,
this is definitely this is from Walmart, and I got it cheap, and I'm happy about it.
it really drives me crazy when I see women and they just hang it. Like, get a better bra.
Air it out.
No,
Excuse
I'm not
me.
saying but they're wearing bras and they don't look good. I don't
Them
like
bras be saggy.
They
You know
like
what?
do
It's
better.
because
Sack
my
of
boobs are
potatoes.
saggy.
But we're not talking about you.
Straight
We're talking about women who
potatoes.
just don't have good bras. And this summer,
He talking
Is
about
it-
the
is it
beige
the
ones.
bras
or
Oh,
the
you know,
titties?
that's dirty and right.
yeah.
And you got on a
Mine
And
is
you got on the
good.
tank top or something.
Yes.
Like, no.
Hey,
Yeah,
we're
see,
not
if you
judging
just got on
every
a
ounce
tank
of
top
everything
and your
we just
titties
said.
is just sagging like that,
You can't
no.
see I have a beige bra on with a tank
No.
top. Just saying.
It's not dirty though.
No, it's
It's-
clean.
it's
Talking
very
about the
clean.
ones with the
We're
dirt.
not talking
No, I
about
do my
that.
laundry.
We're talking
The
about
ones
the
you
ones that
wore
just
3-4
hang
days
out.
in a
just
row.
like-
I got a good
Now,
one.
hold on.
I got
Now,
a good one for
but
the summer,
with
right?
that, those are the same women who always talking about they can't find them a good man. What? Who wants
Nobody
you?
wants your saggy ass.
Nobody
So,
wants your
I
saggy,
don't
dirty
want
bra.
no pancakes thrown over my shoulder, like when I'm humping you. No,
He went straight to the hump. I got another one for the summer. This summer, we are not going out of the house without proper hygiene.
Definitely.
Oh
Because
yes,
I can't-
It's too hot for that
it's too
shit.
Well,
hot
but
for
it's already
that.
happening, and it's getting a
It's-
little warm
yes.
out. And I was in the store. the other
Wash your
day.
ass.
Wash your ass. Put the deodorant on because I don't know. The grocery store the other day, I thought I had to excuse myself and leave because some buddies did not wash
The
themselves.
pH was a little off.
There was a lot of pH off. There was no
Hey, look.
pH.
This summer we not wearing last year's sundresses. It don't cost but $10 to get a new one.
Oh yeah, and they got some cute ones out there.
Yes.
And this
Yeah.
summer we're letting it breathe. We're just the no panties, just
Yeah.
letting it go.
That's
Hey,
yeah.
females, let them old ass wigs go.
Definitely.
What
If
the-
your
what's the
wig
life
can
cycle
stand
of a
up
wig?
by itself, do not wear it.
Let them
I want to know the
go.
life cycle of a wig. How long can you keep a wig?
I
before
don't
Depends
you-
even
on the
know.
quality.
Do it got an expiration date
Depends
on
on
the
the quality
motherfucker?
and the maintenance of it, like definitely. But if you throw your wig in the corner every time you go home, don't bring it back
I
out
mean,
this summer.
what do they put them in the washing machine?
They stand
Like,
them
how-
up next to the leggings.
That was scary. If I walk into your house and I see your wig just floating around your living room, I'm
No
not
last
okay.
summer leggings.
I'm about to start selling a shelf that holds your wig, your leggings, and your lashes. Because
You know what? You're onto it right now. That's how you're getting in the bag. this
Spider
summer.
webs.
Listen.
Like, no, Wednesday, no.
That's
Get that.
hilarious.
All right. Well, that was Tips with Tea, and those are things that we are not or are we doing this summer. So just act accordingly, y'all. We want to have fun this summer. We want everybody to be safe, but we need y'all to act accordingly. And again, like I said, if you don't know how to act, keep your ass where you're at.
How about this? We're not going to take an example from John Morant as to how we behave.
At all.
Absolutely
So there
the
you go.
fuck
I'm going to
not.
end on that one.
Put the glizzies down.
Keep
Like the
your-
hot dogs or the
oh God.
your
Both of them.
there we go.
So the other night, like we had went out to shoot pool, and it was like they had to be teachers or something. It was like a group of people. It was like 6 or 7 of them. They're sitting at the table, and they had a 2-hour conversation about glizzies. I kid you not. He was
Hilarious.
telling the story about how the student asked if he wanted one, and he didn't know what it was.
That's
and
amazing.
it was just how it was so funny how mesmerized these old people were about the word glizzy. It was hilarious. I swear to
I love
God.
messing with the kids when they act like they think I don't know what a glizzy is. So then I just turn around. I'm like, a glizzy? What's that? I was. Then I just talk about how we're gonna have hot dogs for our next party. I don't ever use the term, and they're like,
Yeah.
like laughing, like they're gonna be
For
like,
copyright
oh,
purposes, that is a hot dog.
Yes.
A hot
Glizzy's
dog.
not a brand.
What?
Yes,
He's
he's
a hot dog.
Yes.
A hot dog.
We don't want people to think that Glizzy is like a brand.
We should copyright
Yeah.
that.
Or a gun.
Trademark.
Or a gun.
We're not talking about
We're
that.
not
Yeah, we
talking
don't
We're
talk-
talking about
We're mud talk, not
actual
John Moran.
hot dogs.
All right. Before we get into anything else, y'all, we want to say shout out to our official sponsor of the show this week. We want to
Yes.
say shout out to Project 360. PS Studios 360 is a comprehensive multimedia enterprise that specializes in branding, design, podcasts, and digital media to artists, individuals, and organizations, providing captivating design and media services from all angles. Visit them online at p360studios.com or give them a call at 419-540-8252. Again, that is 419-540-8252, or hit them up online at p360studios.com. mudtalks.com. So shout out to Project 360 for being the official sponsor of Mud Talks.
Studios.
Shout
That's a
out,
nice
shout
email.
out, shout out.
Yes,
Project 360.
yes, we thank you guys so much for
Yes.
being the official sponsor of Mud Talk this week.
Good show.
All right. So, like we said, it is viewers' choice this week. And so we actually did a contest online. Many Faces Podcast Studio did it.
Okay.
Yes, I got a lot of
You got something going on over
It's
here.
such an emotional
I'm like, hold on, man.
I
Do we
wasn't
need to
gonna
take
say
a break right quick, dog? Like,
I
what's
just
going
wanted to sit there
on?
with the tears
I
in
wasn't
your eyes.
gonna say
It's
that.
such an
I
emotional
left it till
show.
it started to like run.
I didn't want to make him feel
For
bad.
those of you that
about
don't know,
it.
there's a tear just going
Yes.
right down Big T's
Man,
face.
I've been sneezing and eyes watering.
This
all
weather
day.
is
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
waking up stuffy nose.
Things are
every
growing.
day and everything. So.
Yes. So, but we did a contest on Many Faces Podcast Studio Facebook page. Shout out to Lexi for holding that contest. And so she had people send in topics that they wanted to hear us discuss on the show, and the people who commented got free merch. They got free
Nice.
Many Faces Podcast merch. So shout
That's
out to the
nice.
Black Lido brand. Shout out to Many Faces Podcast Studio. But yeah, they got some free merch. So we took their questions, put them up, and then we also had some other people who sent in stuff on our Facebook earlier today. So we got quite a few
And
questions.
you can comment too if you have anything you want to add.
Yes, absolutely. So, all right. So the first question that we got is from Shantae Andrews. She says, "What can we do to help our youth keep a positive mindset and stay out of trouble?"
Be an example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if we aren't showing them and just trying to tell them, like back in the day, we were raised do as I say, not as I do. And I think that's the number one thing. Like we have to be, that leader. We have to be that
Right.
example.
Yeah. One of the things that when we interviewed Dr. Durant, he literally said mentoring.
Yeah.
We need
Yep.
more people to mentor, and not even just women, more men.
Yes.
And
you
more
know,
black men.
more black
And I'm
men.
saying that because I run a mentoring program where I work, and I can't find women or men of anything that's other than not white. Like I can't, it's hard.
Yes.
And it's like, and I'm going to the depths of the earth and nobody wants to mentor. And mentoring is where it's at because that's the good example that you're talking
Right.
about.
Absolutely. And I think people say all the time, I can never work with kids because this generation and that or whatever. Be the change that you want to see.
Yep.
This is the reason why the kids are acting the way they are, because they know nobody wants to deal with them. With kids, it takes time and consistency
And
it's-
patience.
and patience.
They're kids. They're not gonna get it the first time around.
Yes,
Right.
and two things with that. Number one, you have to be consistent. Kids love consistency.
Yes.
So if I say every Monday I'm going to come to whatever school and I'm going to drop off
You
snacks to this
show
class,
up.
you need to do that every single Monday. Are you going to slip up sometimes? Absolutely, we're human. But don't just be like, oh well,
I miss one.
I
I'm done.
miss one, I'm done.
out.
Like
Yeah.
I'm out with that. And the second thing with that is we have to be mindful that some of our kids, the reason why they act like adults is because they're forced to be adults.
Right.
They are in
Yes.
adult situations. So you have
They're
some
hearing adult conversation.
adult conversations,
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah.
adult things.
Yep.
So when you have a 12-year-old who may act like they're 21,
Cussing.
but what are they supposed to do when mom goes to work and they got to be at home taking 3 or 4
Yeah.
kids, their brothers and sisters, and they have to feed them. They have to take care of them. They have to make sure
Yeah.
their homework is done. They have to make sure they get a shower. They have to make sure they're in bed. And sometimes, depending on what time that mom, works or whatever, they have to wake them up and get them ready for school. So, of course, as a 12-year-old, like Red said, I might be cussing. I might be smoking. You know why? Because in my mind,
Yeah.
I
I'm an
am an
adult.
adult.
And I'm
You know what?
facing the same stressors
Yes.
Yeah.
as an adult.
Because kids
Exactly.
take it on. Like I have kids all the time when I'm working with them in my office. My first thing that I'll ask a kid when they're talking about this is, when's the last time you got to be a kid? And we've talked about this a little bit before, and they'll just kind of look at me weird, like, what? I'm like, no, but for real. And they don't, sometimes they can't even answer me. And I'm not faulting anybody. Let me just say, we're not faulting you, because it is tough. I've been a single mom. It's tough when you don't have the help that you need. And sometimes it is easier to have your 12-year-old just because it's more convenient. And that's okay. We're not faulting that. Do what you got to do, but allow them the space at some point in time to be an actual kid.
Yes.
And I give them the homework. I'm like, okay, so here's your homework. You got to tell me one thing you're going to do to be a kid. And I don't mean a kid running the streets doing things that are not positive. I mean an actual kid. And it's funny to hear them say the things that they did to be a kid. I went to the park and I was on the swings. That's a kid.
Mhm.
I'm hearing this from 12, 13,
Right,
14,
right,
15-year-olds. And they're like, and it was weird. I hear it's weird to be a kid. But I'm like, but I need you to keep practicing being a kid because they can't help the circumstances around them. But we need to allow kids the space to be kids.
Absolutely.
And you know what? If you're having what blows my mind is this sheer amount of adult conversations
Mhm.
that kids should not be hearing.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, kids can hear everything. I will whisper and my daughter will know everything I say because I swear she's got like sonic hearing when it's adult conversations. But be aware of what's being discussed when they're just right there in the room.
Absolutely.
Because the thing these kids tell me, I'm like, why do you know that or what that is or what that? And you know, some of the stuff we kind of joke about that you said that you hear your kids talking about it at work
Yeah.
too. And I'm like, kids shouldn't know that. You shouldn't have to hear that. And they take it on. The amount of times that kids will come to me and they're stressed out because they're sitting in a room listening to the adults talk about all the other stresses that they're having. I mean, kids that are 12 going, I don't know how we're going to pay. They will say, I don't know how we're going to pay the bills this month. And I will literally look at them and say, we, who's we? You have a job? No, but like, we're not going to be able to pay the bills. Like we might get evicted. That is weighing on them.
Yes.
You know, I'm not saying that you shouldn't prepare them for reality, but just be mindful of how you speak to them and how you, if you're going to allow them to hear that conversation, allow them to hear the problem solving conversation too.
Absolutely.
Because you can't just stop with that because
Yes.
they take that on.
They do.
And once they hear that conversation, it's forcing them at
They
a young
internalize
age.
it.
They have to grow up now faster.
Mhm.
You know, as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, like I moved out my mom's house when I was 17 years old. You know, I went out and got it. You know, I didn't need for her anymore. Not saying that, but I just didn't want that responsibility on her anymore.
Mhm.
Because you were around the adult stuff. A lot. Yeah.
I was around everything that was already happening. I already knew what was transpiring every day that I woke up. So as a younger kid, when you're seeing that coming up, you have to adapt to it and you have to prepare yourself for that long journey, that
Mhm.
longer life of what you're going to go through, because you got to wake up every day like, okay, I know my mom's struggling. Now I got to wake up and figure out how I can help my mom.
Right.
I don't have a dad in my life.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
kids go through that.
Yep.
So
And can I say too, if you're a parent, and I think they're talking collectively as a community, but if you're a parent parenting kids, I'm just begging you, you are a parent and you are their parent,
Yes.
and it's okay to step up and be their parent. And I know it's hard, and I know they're going to throw tantrums and fits, and but I think sometimes what ends up happening is kids end up where they're doing and what they're doing because they're not having anybody in their life look at them and say that is not acceptable behavior.
Right.
And there's ways you can do it that you're not going to get the pushback that you think you're going to get. But remember, when you've given them so much freedom, and then all of a sudden you try to step in and pull that away, which I think is what's happening, is our kids are having a lot of freedom out there to kind of do what they want. And when society comes in and steps in and says, that's not how we behave, then they tend to go out and they tend to behave even worse because they're not used to that like structure, like you said, consistency,
Right.
structure. So if you're a parent, it's okay to be a parent. The fact of the matter is, and I can tell you this, all those kids want from you is the consistency, the love, and the structure.
Yes.
Kids thrive on structure.
Michael Allen Jr. said on the last show, kids spell love with Time.
Mhm.
All they want is time.
It's time.
Make
And I'm going to
time.
add structure to that.
Yes,
They
time and
need that structure
They need it.
because I can tell you the kids that struggle the most are the kids that have the most freedom
Mhm.
because they come into the world and then they're like, you don't get that much freedom in
Yeah.
the world when you're that age.
Not only do they internalize the things that they hear and see around them, it's the resources they have available to them, the shows they're able to watch,
Yes.
the internet, all of that, the places they're able to go. Like you said, if they don't have that structure and they're free to, do whatever they want to do, they're ending up in places they're not supposed to be.
And their brain's not ready for it. Their
Yes.
brain is not developed enough to understand
exactly
the consequences
And
of
then
that.
you have people who will take advantage of
For
that.
sure.
Yes.
For sure. Because quite honestly, what was it? One of my very favorite speakers that I let talk to my kids is they talk about if people are not there to kind of basically love you, they're there to capitalize on you.
Yes.
And that means they're there to take you and they're there to like basically use you. And we all know that young minds are very easily manipulated.
Absolutely.
And so, just be careful what you're doing around kids and saying around kids and giving them the structure.
because they listen a lot.
They
They
do.
do.
And they care about you. And that phone, that belongs to you.
Yes.
I don't care if they pay that bill or not. If they're living in your house, that belongs to you.
Yeah, that's their phone.
And I'm not saying you have to take everything away, but at least process through what it is they're seeing, watching, hearing,
Yes.
doing.
Yeah.
Set boundaries.
Yes. And like
Yes.
Shay said, be cautious of where you allow your children to go and
Yes.
what they take in. One thing that I am not a fan of, and I'm gonna say it, and it is what it is. I am not a fan of bars and clubs who allow kid events to
No.
be held at their
No.
bars and establishments.
Mm-mm.
Like, and people have done it, and I've seen it. So people will have, and I don't care if you put a big ass tarp over all the liquor. It's still the simple fact that that is a bar, that is an adult place, and I've seen it.
I've seen kids in places where like they get weird, like if it's like a restaurant-y
Yeah.
entertainment place, you can let kids into a certain time, and kids will be in there.
Because this is my thing. If this is meant to be an adult establishment, this is what it needs to be. Because once we start allowing kids to be, having graduation parties and birthday parties and bars and whatnot, now we're blurring the lines. Because now my child can say, Dad, I went to the same place where you go.
And they think that they're grown,
And they
because
think they're
allowed to do that.
Because they
and
were
they're
allowed
not
to do
grown.
that. So my son, well, he's 21 now, but when my son was younger than, under 8, when he was 21 and younger, or younger than 20, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Anyway,
Not of age.
he was
Underage.
not of age. He was underage.
Yes.
There we go. When he was underage or whatnot, there would be no way in hell that I would allow my son to say, Dad, can I have my graduation party at such and such club or bar or whatever? What do I look like throwing a graduation party for my son at a place that I know that I go to? That's like him asking me, can he have his graduation party at Lenny's? You think I'm really about to let you have your graduation party at Lenny's, the same spot that I go to? Absolutely, we're not doing that.
No.
So, but because we allow those things to happen, that's where the lines get blurred.
And it's just asking questions. Like I have there's some kids that I help out with, obviously through my job and in my personal life, and nieces and nephews and cousins, and a couple of them were like, hey, we're about to go here, and I'm like, you are absolutely not going to go there. Well, why? Because the kids that are going there are doing things they shouldn't be doing, and they're running the streets, and that's not going to be your situation. Not on my watch. And you know what? Guess what? They still love me. We still have a relationship. And they respect the fact that I put up a boundary.
Yes.
And it's okay to set those boundaries. But I think it all boils down to, if we're looking at a community as a whole, is the example we set, the relationships we build, and the fact that we allow kids to be kids.
I would say yes, heavy on letting kids be kids. A lot of people, when it came to my son didn't get his first job literally until he turned 21.
Yeah.
And people would ask me like, well, why haven't you allowed your son to get a job? Why does he have a job? I said, because he's a kid. First of all, not that I have anything wrong with kids having jobs, but our first mindset between me and his mom was he's a child. If he wants to go skating, here's $20 and go skating. Yeah. If you want to go to Urban Air, here's some money and go to Urban Air. Why do you feel like that you need to get a job to do kid shit? You are a kid. First off. Second of all, I need you to focus on your grades and also just being a kid. You shouldn't have to be worried about at 14, 15, like, oh, I got to go to work. How I'm going to get to work today. You are a child.
See, and I actually have a different perspective, just how I have my kids. Like my son got his first job at 16, but I put boundaries in place that he was still able to be a kid, but because his first job was at Sky Zone. So first of all, I made sure that wherever he was going to work, it was going to be a kid-friendly, kid-oriented job where he wasn't going to feel like he was going to have to. Because like my very first real job was I was working with grown adults, and I was laughing, but I was 16 working with 40 and 50-year-old women and men at this job, because it was more of, I was making more money, and it was doing some certain office work and stuff, but I grew up real fast. And so for him, but on the other hand, we always made sure that he had the ability, that he wasn't working crazy hours, and that there was always a day off during the weekend that he could spend time with friends, family, to just be a kid. And then during the school week, that he made sure his grades were right and that he did the activities at school that he wanted to. And if work got in the way of that, that took priority.
Right.
So it's similar, but I also know that I needed him to, I knew he was going to go when he far away for college. And I knew that I needed him to have that responsibility.
Yeah.
So I did the same, but I just did it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, sometimes it's also forced on kids.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's like they have to go out and go get it. Like they have no choice.
Yeah.
That's how they.
And sometimes it could be the parents saying, "You go get a job." Like my mom forced me to go get a job at 16. She was like, "If you're gonna have a car and you're gonna have a license, I need you to get a job." So for me, did I want to get a job? No. But once I got that job, was I okay with it? Yes. But then I was still stressed. Like, oh man, now I gotta handle this. I gotta do this. I gotta pay this bill. I gotta pay car insurance.
You became an adult.
It made me low key become an adult.
And I guess the other way that you can look at this too is, and this is why I think it's maybe if a job is the only way to keep your kids from running the streets, tell your kid to go get a job.
Yeah.
And honestly, and that's a very opposite of what we just said.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think idle time is definitely a big problem. And so if a job is going to be structured and that's going to teach your kids how to be off the streets and out of trouble, then maybe that's what they need. But evaluate your kid.
Yes.
And in order to do that, you have to be around them and give them structure and set
They
the
always
boundaries.
say an idle mind is the devil's playground.
sure. And that-
So
especially
keep
with
the kids
kids.
busy.
With-
And
Absolutely.
structure is not your child watching your kids
Yes.
7 days a week.
Or just sitting there watching YouTube all damn
Yeah.
day. That's
Right.
not structure.
No.
Structure is actually going and doing something. And there's so much kid friendly stuff to do that you can do with your child.
Yeah.
You can go to the art museum, you can go to the imagination station.
That's free. Parks. I mean,
Parks are free.
amazing.
Promenade Park or Promedica Park now it's called. They have the splash pad downtown.
Yeah.
They have the
Oh, that's actually.
The
I
little
thought that was
light
just a fountain.
things. They
no,
have
it's a
the-
splash
Oh, I
pad.
told my son he could go play in the fountain
Yeah, they
downtown.
have splash
So
pad.
it's in
Splash
Dallas?
pad.
It's
Oh,
a section
wow.
down there at night where you can go and
Watch the free
touch these
movies and
little,
everything.
these little light pads and everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do out here.
Right.
You
And
just
know,
have to find it.
Yes.
and I will say that the other rule that I had in my house, because my oldest son is 8 years older than my daughter, and he's 12 years older than my son. I'm not gonna lie, I had stuff to do, and I did ask him to watch my kids an awful lot. But the rule in my house was it is a job,
Mhm.
so I always paid him. It wasn't a ton,
Yes.
but I made sure that was the boundary that I set because I didn't want to make it seem like it was something he had to do because then I was removing his childhood.
Yes.
Right.
I was, and there was always a personal choice. I mean, I think if you ask him, he's like, you didn't give me a choice, but there was always a choice there. And I
Yeah.
was like, but if you do it, I'm going to pay you money. I'm going to pay you what I can. I'm going to pay you per hour, just like a job. That money is yours. It's in cash the minute I come home.
Right.
Yeah, I'm more so speaking on the parents who have a job working 5-6
Yeah.
days a week, and then you ask your kid to watch then, and then
Yeah.
turn around. Oh, you have to watch while I'm go out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to give, you
Yeah,
know,
see, that's different.
like you
Yes,
say,
yes,
you
yes.
gave them a choice, and
Yeah.
that's my biggest thing.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right. The next question comes from Nicole Robinson. She says, why is it, as we stated, having kids, we decided to raise them differently than we were? We need to go back and start whooping our kids, giving punishments and disciplines, and stop being their best friends.
I was just about to say that too on the last question.
That's
What
so
do we need to
loaded.
do?
Yeah.
Whoop these kids.
I'm going to have
Go
a very
back to
different
whooping
opinion
they
about everything I'm
ass.
saying right now, but yeah. Go ahead.
I
am
disagree.
I'm a
Uh-huh.
50-50 on that.
I'm a 50-50.
Yes, I can say
I don't
that.
whoop my kids, but I discipline them to where if I say something and they know it, then they see that I'm serious, they gonna tighten up. But I don't really have to whoop my kids in order for them to act right.
See, I
know?
feel like once you set the expectation and you've been consistent with the expectation, you don't have to whoop your kids.
Right.
My
Yeah.
son, I've had my my son is adopted. I've had him since he was 13. He's 21. Obviously, I ain't whooping him now. But when he was underage, I've never whooped my son once. Never, ever, ever. Off of the simple fact, the expectations when it comes to school and when we're at home.
Mhm.
So when he came home and he had a bad grade, he would come like, Dad, I already know I messed up. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to whoop you. But some people will be like, oh, you got to F now. Go upstairs, I'm gonna beat your ass. If you already set the expectation and this is the academic standard, this is the standard in my
And
household.
if you don't meet it, here's
If
your
you don't meet it,
consequence.
here's your consequence. It don't even have to be me whooping
And
you.
the consequence doesn't have to be a whooping.
It can be I'm turning the Wi-Fi off.
The
Yeah.
counselor in
kids
me
love
is
Wi-Fi.
the counselor in
Right.
me is going to say, and I'm not, and this is me, I will fully say this before I say what I'm about to say.
Yes.
I have 100% physically disciplined my oldest, probably because I was younger, didn't know better. I tried to spank my daughter once. She was like, is that all you got? So that didn't happen anymore after that because that's just her. But here's what I'm going to say. When people just whoop their kids and there is no, because we are a Y generation. There's a
Yes.
research out there. I'm about to give you some research. There is research out there that says every generation is different. Guess what? We might have got whooped. I got my ass beat by, I call it the cutting board. It was the paddle. And it looked like my dad literally shaped it in the basement. He stained it. He asked me what stain color. I love my dad. He's the most gentle soul, but he let me pick out the stain color of the paddle
Oh, he was
that
serious.
hung in my garage. And so-
paint that ass whooping.
Oh, he was gonna pick out the
I'm
color.
going to paint that ass
Yep,
red.
yep.
That's
So-
what I'm going
so-
to.
And it hung by the door that I walked in every single day, so I could see the paddle, so I could remember. That's our generation. You can never say that any generation is going to be the same. Ever.
Yes.
And this generation is what they call the Y generation. We already talked about that a little bit. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And I'll tell you why it's the Y generation. Can I borrow this? Because they have these.
Yes.
They can literally pick up their phone. They can find anything they want to find. They can find a rationale for anything. So what we might take and what our parents might take is disrespect. Like if I'm like, hey, go clean up your room, and you're like, why? we might be like, oh, you're gonna get your ass whooped now because you just asked me why. That's disrespectful. But really, all that's them is doing
They just
is
want to
they know, and they're asking you because you're their first resource.
Yes.
Because I promise you this: if you whoop their ass and send them upstairs for disrespect, all they're gonna do is get on this phone and try to find out why themselves
Mhm.
for whatever it might be. And so, and the other part of it is that when you use physical punishment and you don't provide, and I'm not saying I'm anti that. There are certain circumstances where it may be okay. And I've never found success in the children that I've worked with. All you're doing is producing angry children.
Yes.
Yes.
And you're
Emotional
producing
damage.
children that do not want to open up to you.
Yes.
They're producing children that don't want to do anything that's going to be productive for you. And I know it because I hear it all day at work that this is, oh, you're wrong. I know if they're complying with you, they're complying long enough to appease you. And the minute that you don't need to be appeased, they're going to go out and they're going to fail.
Yes.
And whether that's when they're a teenager, whether that's when they're an adult, they're not going to know how to process their emotions. And then we're going to end up with a whole bunch of very angry, mentally unhealthy adults. Whereas I'm not saying if a whooping is the consequence that you've chosen, I'm not going to say that that's on you. But like you said, set the boundary, say the consequence, and then it's okay. But the whole you got enough, now you're getting whooped, and they don't know that ahead of time. Or did you just ask me why? That's it. You're getting a whooping,
Yeah.
or just a whooping for no reason. Their minds aren't processing
It's
that.
going to confuse.
It's going to confuse them and cause angry people.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yes. And I would say the way we were raised, like the do as you were told, not as I do, the whole
'Cause I said
speak
so.
when spoken to. Yes, because I said so.
Mhm.
Jump when I say jump. It's all, again, just like with the whoopings, it's emotional damage.
Yeah.
Yes.
When, again, all our kids want to know is why. And then once you explain why and give them that reason, now they have the mental knowledge to make effective decisions throughout their, adulthood.
And
So you're actually instilling a lesson
You're
in
building
them
empathy.
with conversation and communication.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you're-
absolutely.
and it's much more effective, I found, if I look at a kid and say, let me explain to you why. I had an incident with one of the children that I raised the other day where they did something that greatly could have had a great consequence in my life, like severe.
Mhm.
And they didn't understand. And I said, I need to explain to you why this is an issue and how your actions impacted me. And I need you to see it.
Right.
And once we saw it, it was a very much like tears, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then guess what? I can promise you that decision's never going to be made again
Right.
because of the why. Because I could have easily just whooped him and moved on with life.
Yeah.
But we're going to have that same problem 2 weeks later.
Yes, especially if they don't understand it.
Yeah.
And then I was going to say too, a part of the reason why I feel like I'm a better parent now than I was parented
Yeah.
is because I learned from the way I took what I didn't like as a kid,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to project that onto my children.
Yeah.
I didn't want to pass down that trauma.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to continue those cycles.
Yeah.
I wanted to break the chain and
Yes.
generational curse with me.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes with parenting, it starts with you.
It
Yes.
has to start with you.
And when you talk with your child, you might find out the reason why. Like for
There's
example,
always a
it's
reason.
always
why.
a reason. So for example, your kid comes home and brings grades home that you don't like, and so you whip their ass. Guess what? You don't know that your child may not just simply understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Your child may need an IEP, and you don't know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you don't know that because you're too busy trying to whip their ass, and they
Yeah.
simply just don't.
Or
get
your
the
child
shit.
may be having some sort of there might be a bullying situation
Bullying
that
situation.
they like, or maybe it's just they're not sleeping at night and
Or they
haven't told
tired
you,
from
or they're-
babysitting all your
all your
kids,
kids all
Yeah.
night.
and
Well, I can
cooking
tell you
dinner
for
all
sure.
night, getting up with them kids and taking them to school and coming
Mhm.
back home with
Yeah.
them.
And that happens
Sometimes-
too.
And then they
That's
come
all
home
it
and bring the
is.
grade card, and now you like, I'm whooping your ass. You know I don't like these grades, ma'am. Do you know that I've been
Right.
getting bullied for the whole first quarter? Did you know that I
And
don't?
the kid that said that I have to work in a group with that they made me is the one doing it.
Absolutely.
And they might have not have totally makes them feel comfortable.
Or
Or they did,
I-
nobody believed them.
Or mom, dad, I may simply don't know how to read. Maybe these letters
Yeah.
are looking backwards to me. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like I need help, but whooping
Yeah.
their ass is not going to do anything. And the second thing that whooping does do, whooping to me causes anxiety in kids.
For sure.
And I'm
Yes.
speaking from my personal
Yes.
experience. I've probably gotten whoopers on like one hand that I can probably count is probably one hand. But even just from that, I remember even being a teenager and just simply like, damn, like I done messed. I know that I'm not gonna get a whooping because I'm a teenager, but I know that my mom is gonna come home, she gonna yell, she gonna bitch, she gonna complain, she gonna do this. So now I have this constant
Yeah.
anxiety. So that causes anxiety in our kids. And then guess what? Now, as an adult, now you have to deal with anxiety. And now we have a whole society
We do.
dealing with anxiety.
PTSD.
And trauma.
PTSD and trauma.
And I don't want to say, I don't want anybody listening that's an older listener that like our parents' age to think that that's something that they've done, because guess what? They're healing from the things that were
Oh,
from
absolutely.
their generation. And we're just I told a student this today. I said, listen, all I need you to do today is be a little bit better than you were yesterday.
Mhm.
All I need for this generation is for us to do a little bit better than was done for us,
Right.
and to break those generational curses, and know that, like you said, whooping is not going to solve anything. If I like boredom's a huge one.
Yes.
A lot of times kids' behavior is just straight up rooted in boredom, hunger,
Mhm.
physical illnesses that you don't even know that they're struggling
Yeah,
with.
most definitely.
And if you're not stopping to figure out why, you're just beating their ass, you're never going to find out
You're never
why.
gonna
And
figure
then,
it out.
Yeah,
then I can tell you this, they're not going to tell you.
The
Yeah.
cycle's only going to continue.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I had to figure out that because I'm still fairly a new parent. You know, I have a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I used to whoop them when they would pee on themselves. But now my kids would wake up and they'd say, "Hey, Daddy, I peed on myself on accident." They'll tell me. And I'm like, "It's okay. You told me it was an accident. There's no reason for me to get mad at you. As long as my kids recognize that what they did, there's no reason for me to get mad at you or
And in reality, they probably couldn't help the fact that they had an accident.
yeah,
And that's
Right.
what happened
'Cause
in
they're
my
just-
son's
yeah.
case. My son was about 6 at the time, 6 or 7, and I couldn't understand why he was continuing, because during the day he would stay dry. Come to find out, it was a whole medical condition
Yeah.
to where
Right, though.
he even
So,
had to have
yeah.
surgery to where his, hole wasn't open
Yeah.
enough to where
He could relieve.
He could-
fully.
exactly
Yeah.
fully
Yeah.
relieve itself.
Yeah.
And then even when he did go, it'd be everywhere, and we couldn't understand why.
Couldn't figure
Right,
out why.
right,
And
right.
then the side note is then now if I'm getting, and I'm not even saying bathroom things, whooping in general, if I'm scared or I'm anxious,
and that's going to
it
make them
comes
even
out
scared
in
because they are
bathroom-
already
but it
scared.
comes out
Right.
in bathroom waste.
So you're
Yes.
making
You know
an
what I'm saying?
already traumatic
Yeah.
situation
Yeah.
more worse than it has
Exactly,
to be.
because they're already scared
know.
and they think that I'm going to yell at them and get mad at
Yeah.
them or whoop
Right.
their butt because
Yeah.
I'm like, it's okay.
Another one I
baby.
see is kids will spill
You
something.
said it was an accident. It's an
Yeah.
accident. You told me that it was an accident.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you are acknowledgeable that you know this it's an accident. So
Right.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
We're good, baby. So
And the fact that
Yeah.
the kids are just talking to you about it.
yes.
And that's why I was just telling the thing that drives me nuts is like when kids knock over drink. Like I've seen more kids get whooped because they've spilled something.
Yeah,
I
most
promise you
definitely.
this is
I
their
would
motive,
never.
their-
I can't do
Yes.
that.
I'm not saying
about to
you.
whoop
I'm
you.
saying
with-
people in general because their
Yeah.
muscles aren't developed enough.
Right.
I spill shit. I mean, you watch me. There's a whole blooper reel.
Spill
You know?
shit, break shit.
You know
she
what?
do it
And
all.
I
Right,
think
though.
I think the other thing is as adults, I think this is a great way to develop empathy as adults and dealing with kids and whoopings, and I'll be done. If you yourself wouldn't want to be treated that way, if you made that decision or that choice, then we shouldn't be treating kids like that. We expect much
Exactly.
more out of our kids because the fact of the matter is when I spilled that wine, if somebody's like, I'm gonna whoop your ass because you spilled wine, I'd be like, fuck no.
Yes.
But we do that with kids. You spilled your milk. I'm gonna beat your ass now. So like
I've
the way I
seen it
look at it
happen.
is if you would not want to be treated that way, if you did a behavior or something, we expect a conversation as adults. So do kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we're human. So all right,
right.
I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
All right. My next question comes from Darla Barnett. She
I thought you
says,
said her name was Dollar. I was like, that's
No,
a great name.
Darla.
Darla. All right,
Darla Barnett. She says, "Are we setting good examples for our children? And if so, what does that look like?"
I think Shay already covered that.
I feel like we've
I-
answered
Yeah.
that.
I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like I'm setting a great example for my children because every time I get my kids, I actually just had my kids today. And they always sing this song. They were like, I'm a cool dad. I'm a cool dad.
you
I
brainwash
got a
them?
cool dad.
Yeah.
No,
You
it's
brainwashed them,
actually a
didn't you?
show on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
No, it's actually
He's
a
like,
show
let's
on
sing the daddy,
YouTube.
the cool dad song.
No, but they be singing like, I got a cool dad. I got a cool dad. So that inspires me to like just motivate them to, just to be positive and stay positive and just know that
Positive vibes.
I'm a
Yes.
cool dad.
I'm
Like
gonna keep it short and simple. My kids know not only do I talk the talk, I walk the walk.
Absolutely.
So if I'm asking them to do something, whether it's a chore or whatever, or the way I treat them, if I don't want that energy in return, I don't project it into the
most
world.
definitely.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
answer this in a different way because I think what they were asking is collectively as a society are we being good
Yes.
examples, and the answer is no. And I think that there are people out there and pockets of people that are great examples, but I think the examples that our kids are looking up to, because we're not monitoring what they're watching, because we're out there allowing them to be in grown people conversations and grown people behaviors and grown people areas.
Yes.
I think the problem is that we're allowing our kids to be exposed to way too much stuff that adults are doing, and that's not a great example of who you should be.
And let me add to that, because I'm gonna say this, and because we're not making them feel comfortable enough to come have those
Yes.
conversations with us about what they saw,
Yeah.
or they don't feel comfortable enough to come to us when they have a question about
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
So I say, when it comes to my kids, like I've always instilled them, you can come talk to me
Yeah.
about anything.
Me too.
I'm
for
never
sure.
gonna judge you. I'm always gonna love you.
Yeah.
I'm not that parent.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about something, no matter how ugly it is,
Uh-huh.
I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to guide, teach, and direct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the way that you respond after the fact, when we are human, I always say, I'm sorry I was harsh. I'm sorry I do that, but I love you. I care about you. And that's never going to change.
Yeah.
But I think collectively as a society, I think we are not great examples for kids. And I think a lot of our issues.
We can do better.
We can definitely do better. And the
We
thing is, we
definitely
have to stop thinking or making them feel that the adult shit they're doing is cute. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
A lot of
Yeah.
times the adult stuff they're doing, we're like, oh, that's so cute. Just like, for example, when we were at when we did the Halloween event with Lexi, and Lexi, first thing she was like, baby, you disqualified, because the adults were saying like good knees.
Right.
Why are we
Yeah,
telling a
so-
child
yeah.
that
No,
she
no,
has
Because
no.
you've
good
taken a
knees?
child
And why
event
are
and
they
taken the child out
playing
of it.
that at kid parties?
Parties.
That is not acceptable. I don't
Yes.
care how you explain it. I don't care how you rationalize it.
No,
Any function my kid is at, if I hear good knees, we're leaving.
leaving. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
We
Before or
playing
after you do
Sesame
the
Street
challenge
around
yourself?
here.
No, not in
Kids.
front of my kids.
No, I know.
Not in front of my
I think,
kids.
but I want to go back to where we are in our community, because I think a lot of the issues that we're seeing in our community with our kids acting out and doing the things that we're doing and seeing them on the news, and we're talking about the violence. I'm seeing a whole lot of parents that, and I'm not saying it's their fault, but I'm seeing that kids are seeing, I'm not even going to say parents, adults, people in the adult world
Mhm.
doing the same behaviors and interacting
Oh,
with these children.
absolutely.
And I think that if we want to change that, to go back to the first question, those adults, that's got to stop.
Yes.
And I don't care if they're your kids or not. If you were an adult and you were doing adult things, do not let those juveniles around you. I don't even care.
Absolutely.
No,
yeah.
because you have juveniles having young kids. You having kids having
Yeah.
kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like the
basically.
girl who was on live letting her baby smoke the weed, a baby,
Yeah.
not even a
Yes.
kid that's asking.
15-year-olds
But,
having
you know what, though? I'm going to
Yeah.
say, I'm
kids.
actually going to say this to you. The teen pregnancy rate has actually dropped dramatically in the last 20 years. It's not the kids having kids. It's the access and the fact that everybody wants to be in the spotlight. And so when we got kids, I got a teen
everybody
girl
wants to be
having
famous.
kids,
Mhm.
smoking
Yes.
weed on
Trending and
whatever,
viral.
trending
Yeah.
and viral. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because teen pregnancy has been a thing forever. I mean,
Yeah.
that's-
Even before
and,
this
and, it's, and it's
generation.
actually dropping, and that's just because I think that is a benefit of having some information and
Yes.
some
It's
more
all about
knowledge.
the parenting. It's all about
But the parenting,
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
example that people are setting
Yes.
in the
But
I
it's-
want to be famous.
But it's also like you said, we need adults to be adults, and that's why at the Halloween event, I had so much
Mhm.
respect for Lexi
Yes.
because she, sad to say, not only did she disqualify that child, but she said something to that parent. She was like, "We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Like that good needs stuff. We're not." But why, as an adult, are you hyping up saying good needs, and no shade towards country, because he made that song for adults.
for
adults.
adults. It's an
At
adult.
an adult
At an
event.
adult
Song.
event.
Yeah.
Yes.
An all
Explicit
adult event, like no
An
kids.
all adult
No
event, no
kids.
kids. So
Yeah.
why are we going to kid events and saying good needs to a child? So
Right.
now guess what? Now
your
that child-
daughter gonna be
Well, not
My
only
bad.
that,
Go
the
ahead,
child
go
may
ahead.
not even know what good needs is. So what's the first thing they're gonna do? Go on TikTok and type in
And
good
they're like,
needs.
oh, well, I want to go have good news on TikTok, and I want to go get viral.
Well,
and-
it's the
and,
same
know,
with the little girls twerking, and
yeah.
those
yeah.
are okay. So the origin of those dances were not for the sexual acts,
Right.
but that's what it showcases.
But that's what it's gonna actually lead to.
Mhm.
Those sexual things, because you
and then you can't
Good
control
needs,
who's
good needs.
watching or
Exactly.
recording
Yeah.
or the way you have predators in this world.
Literally.
So you have to
There-
teach
there
your
are-
kids it's a way to conduct yourself.
Yes, and there are literally predators who go onto TikTok and save the videos.
Yes.
They save it, and you can see who saves your
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you have grown men who go onto these TikToks and watch these child TikToks doing good knees challenges, and they're saving them.
Or twerking
Or twerking or
you
doing
know.
whatever. But of course, that kid is going to do it because why? I was just at a Halloween event where adults was telling me
And
good knees,
also,
good knees.
we have adults out there, going back to the question, are adults good examples? We have adults that want to be in the spotlight.
Yes.
So they're and for not the right reasons. And yes, that is adult behavior. And yes, that are adult things, and we're okay with adults doing it. But when you're doing it and you're allowing your kids to see you, kids do what you do.
Not
Absolutely.
only that, but when you post it, you can't control who
Correct.
sees it.
Mhm.
Unless
So
you are
again,
posting
you're
it
not
for adults
being
only.
that positive. Even if you do,
Yeah.
you don't have once. Okay, and this is what I explain
Yeah.
to my kids.
Yep.
When it comes to the internet, once you post a video or anything,
forever.
it's in the world. It's in the
Forever.
cloud. You have no
Yep.
control over who hands it lands into.
Because just because I
Your
have it,
intentions may
Yeah.
be good, but that may not be
Yeah.
what your content is used for.
and just because I have strict stuff and I don't let my kids see it, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be like, oh,
Yeah,
look at this.
and watch this with
Show
your
this to your
kid.
kid,
Right.
And then
there's-
your
yeah.
kid coming back to my kid.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw your mom doing this, that, and the third. No.
Yeah. All right. Next question. So this is from Sharice Stokes Crawford. She said, "What do you think we can do to actually bring back the village?"
Well, I think you answered that
Nothing.
too. Mentor.
I'm gonna say it like this. Back in the day and even now, the same situations. To best answer that, no closed doors. If we're gonna have a village, you still have to watch who you even let your kids hang around. So I have to understand. I have to know that you have the same mindset and views and morals that I do before I let you even come close to my child.
Yes.
Rather that's a neighbor, a coworker, or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
because not everybody has good intentions.
Yes. And also, in order to bring back that village, us as adults, we have to be willing to take accountability
Yeah.
Yes.
and let somebody hold us accountable.
Yeah.
So if I come to you and say, "Hey, Miss Shay or Miss Amy
Yeah.
or Red or whatever, your child did this," and you like, "Well, what did they do to my baby first?" We didn't
Or if
know.
I correct your child as the
Or-
village.
or
if I'm at the
about
park
that,
and your
yes.
kid shows my kid down on the slide, I'm like, we're not doing that today.
But now you mad because I
And
didn't
now you're
say something
coming
to
at
your
me,
kid.
you're coming to my house, you're banging on my door. Why would you speak to my kids? We have to accept the fact that if we want the village, we have to allow the village to work.
We have to allow the
Right.
village to village.
Mhm.
A lot of
Village.
people to village, okay?
The-
Because I remember growing up where, my grandmother and other parents on the block, they were checking the shit out
I
of
was
other
just about to
people's
say.
kids. They
I
were
was
doing
just about
that.
to say the same
Especially
thing.
if you
Yes.
are over my granny house, that means that I'm checking you. You are a
Yeah.
child in my house. So
Look,
if
I'ma
I
whoop
say you
your
do,
ass.
Yeah.
well, whoop them or not even
We're not
that.
whooping. Remember, we're past that.
Yes.
I mean, but still.
But
You're
that's
saying
how
back
I
in
used
the
to have
granny
it.
days.
Well,
Back in the
then
day,
back in
though.
the day they
Back
did,
in the
but
day,
simply,
you
but
didn't even
or I'm
see
going
to
to
see
say
my
something,
mouth.
or I'm
Yeah.
going to say something to your child. But if you have a problem with me saying something to your child in my house, then don't bring your
Yeah,
child.
don't
over
come
here.
at me if you're going to come on my porch
Right.
and start yelling at me because I told your child to not behave that way.
Yes.
And
in
you
my
have to be
house.
realistic because you are not always right, and you're open to learn every day. Because you may feel a certain way about, this is how this and this supposed to be when it comes to a kid. But then if I bring another point of view, please be open to understand and listen to my point of
Yeah.
view, because you are not always right. Your kid is not always right.
Right.
And to be the village, you actually have to be around.
Yes.
And so you can't be the village if you got kids raising kids and watching kids all the time. In my village, I don't care if you're in my driveway and it's dinner time, I'm going to feed you. Just like when I was a kid and it was everybody. It might be PB&J. It might be PB&J cut in half, but you're going to get
It
something.
might
Gonna
even
get
be a
something.
popsicle while you're
but
outside.
Yes.
if you're a kid in my
Right.
yard and I
Yeah.
got the popsicles
Yes.
out, you're getting one.
You get
And
one.
it doesn't have to be a lot of money. I'm just saying, we have to take care of other people
Yes.
and our neighbors. And so part of that is I can't do that if I'm not around.
Yes.
We're
If I'm
so-
out,
yep.
and I'm
It's
in the
all about
streets, I'm doing
effort.
that,
But
know?
see,
Exactly.
we also have to, our society has to get away from this whole mentality of, well, that's not my child. My child is good. I feel like
Yes.
society has gotten so focused on just simply your child instead
Yeah.
of all the kids. That's the part of the problem.
Because the fact of the matter is that if your kid is around another person's kid, they're being influenced.
Yes.
So it's better if you have that village
Yeah.
around here because then everybody's, like you said, in the same mindset.
And you never know what that kid's going through.
Absolutely.
Like,
And a lot of times with people too, it doesn't hit them until it hit them.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you so focused like, oh, well, that ain't my child or whatever. But then the moment, and
It's your child.
until it's your child. So whether
Yep.
it be them getting into a fight and it's posted on social media, youth violence is happening at an all-time high. So that's the moment when people are like, we got to do something about the kids. Where were you at when it wasn't
Right.
your kid?
And that whole no snitch mentality, like, I'm not, don't worry, I'm not gonna tell him. But no, if your kid's on this kid, you need to let somebody know.
Yes.
Because when you're turning that blind eye, you're turning the blind eye to your whole community, and it impacts for the people that are the me people, it's impacting you and
Yes.
your kid. Might not be up front right then, but if your neighborhood, your village, your city isn't right, then that's going to impact you and yours.
And unfortunately, that's the situation, because like
Yeah.
you said, if you don't take care of it, eventually it could be your child. So
Yeah.
so we're not tackling the problem as a whole. That problem can spread
Yeah.
out, and then eventually, and we don't want it to happen, but it could possibly be your child.
Yeah.
So that's why we can't just care about just your child. We have to care about the
Yeah.
entire village.
Which, like I said, going back to what you said, Dr. Durant, we need mentors. We
Yeah.
need people who are going to step up and say, I want to be that positive example. I want to be that village. I try to get people all the time, like, hey, I need someone to step up. I have kids because they don't have that village. I need kids to throw the money. I need donations for clothes. I need food. I need this. And a lot of it, if it doesn't impact their kid, they don't care.
Yes.
And but we have to know that to be the village means that we have to help the village. When people are down, when people are up, like, you got to be able to help however you can.
Regardless.
Most definitely.
Yes. All right. Well, so this next question is nothing youth related, but this is from Judy Ann. She says, do Black lives really matter, or do we scream it because everyone else does? You see?
I mean,
I feel like all lives matter. Again, Dr. King spoke about equality, and that's big here in America. But then you do have to address the situation to where everybody is not always treated equally, and we have to be honest about that. So yes, I do feel like Black lives matter.
Yes.
Do you think the question that's being, can just read it one more time?
So the question was,
read
do
it.
Black
Yeah.
lives really matter, or do we scream it because everyone else does?
And I wonder if this person's asking, and if they're asking because they want to say, like, are we just screaming it to scream it, or are the actions of people following that?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of how I interpret it.
Mhm.
That
I feel like as far as saying Black lives matter, I feel, sometimes I feel like we don't care about it until something big happens. I'm not saying everybody, what I'm saying. I do feel like the people who really are in the trenches, who are working hard, who are activists and making it happen, obviously they care. But we don't see people really scream it and say it until we have situations like George Floyd, or we have Sandra Bland, or we have Tamir Rice.
Right.
And that is why people don't take the Black Lives Matter movement seriously. At least not all the time. And so I feel like if we're, again, consistency, if we are going to really make a change in this country when it comes to Black lives, we need to start, number one, we need to put in the work and actually do the work.
Practice what you preach.
Practice what you preach. And then number two, we got to do that for each other. So I can't be out here saying Black lives matter, Black lives matter, Black lives matter, and I'm pissed off about George Floyd.
Yeah.
But then, I'm about to go out here and I'm going to murder somebody who looks just like me.
Yeah. And I will say, coming from a different, perspective race wise, every time any one of my, like, if I get this a lot from a lot of my white friends, like, why Black people always scream Black Lives Matters, and then the number one, what you just said is the number one.
Yes.
How can Black
What
lives
about
matter to
black on
Black
black
people?
crime?
Because there's Black on Black crime, and so I guess my question is, aside from what you just said, what else needs to happen so that people who are Black can show that Black lives truly do matter, to the point where people who are not Black can look at it and say, wow, Black lives really do matter to that race, so it's going to matter to us
Yes.
too. That's
So,
my question. I don't know.
Well, so I always say, so I was part of the Community Solidarity Response Network that's here in Toledo that does the work for Black Lives Matter chapter. And for me, it was when the whole Trayvon Martin situation happened. That's when I got deep into my activism. For me, it was more so he's a kid and I need to do something. Like this is serious. Like, we have kids who are getting killed. He was 17. Then we had Tamir Rice, who was 12 years old. It was just way too many situations. And that's for me when I got involved. But I always tell people, if you want to make a real change, the real change starts in legislature.
Yeah.
That's the real change. We can be on Facebook all day long and say hashtag Black Lives Matter. We can wear the Juneteenth shirts. We can do whatever. But the real change starts in legislature, which means that we have to start attending city hall meetings and figure out what the hell is going on. We have to start attending, I would even say, school board meetings, because education affects Black lives.
100%.
We have to start going to these legislative meetings and start making our voices be heard, and not just being on Twitter with 150 characters doing a hashtag. It starts within legislature and then it trickles down, because if we want to be honest, majority of the racist people are in power, whether it's senators, whether it's police officers, whether it's we had a president who was racist. You know what I'm saying? So it starts within legislature, and until that happens, we can scream all we want, but until that happens, people are not going to take us seriously.
So I guess my question too is like, what needs to be seen in the Black community, like so that can't be an argument. Like, I'm not saying how do you stop Black on Black crime, because guess what? There's white on white crime too.
Unity?
Yeah.
Unity.
So unity.
I would answer unity to that one, because I can't think of the saying right now, but together, it's together we stand, divided we fall.
Yeah.
We have to be united front when it comes to the Black community.
What would that look like? Actually, physically look like? I'm just like
peacefulness.
Yeah,
but we can't, because everybody's always hating on somebody else. Like,
yes, that
it's always gonna be somebody who don't like somebody from a different side of the neighborhood, or a person who feel like they got up one on them.
That anger and misguided frustration
But
from past trauma, childhood trauma, whatever the case may be, lack of structure, lack of necessities.
So I was just going to say that when we had Councilwoman Venice Williams on the show, she said the people that are out here killing people, most of that comes from poverty. People are killing because they don't have no money, they don't have no jobs.
Right.
So therefore, the only way they know how to get it is, I'm gonna go out here and go rob somebody. That's the only way they know how to get it. So number one, we have to figure out how can we as people overcome poverty. Now that's difficult because
some of that happens in legislature.
It happens in absolutely happens in legislation, but also too, we have to understand that we are not, and I'm just being honest, as Black people, we're not on the same playing field as white people. We have to work twice as hard to get it. But again, like Amy said, that has to be within legislature. You have to make your voice be heard, because these people that's in office, they're making decisions that affect us, but we're not speaking up and saying anything.
And I think that I think what you said about the unity actually is super important, because nobody's going to listen to a divided group.
No,
and if you're going to stand up and step up, like, it has to be a decision together collectively, because you're right. There are things that are happening right now that you have to go step into legislature, but nobody's going to take anybody seriously if you're not united together. And it has to, then going back to what Red said, how can we be united if I'm over here hating on somebody because they're having success and I'm not? So it sounds like it really needs to start with the whole like perception of, this is just what I'm hearing, perception of how we view other people, celebrating people's wins rather than being jealous of the fact that people.
I'm gonna give you your flowers before I try to give you dead flowers. I'm gonna give you your good flowers before I try to give you your dead flowers.
Do you give people dead flowers?
That's all the time.
I was just checking. but basically, not even hating and giving flowers. I'm saying like being jealous to the point where I'm going to make sure that you don't have anything because I want what you have. We have to collectively want. That's why supporting Black-owned businesses, supporting the community. I think that to me that sounds united.
And it is, but it also goes back to Shay's point. Us as people, as a Black community, we have a lot of trauma that has to be healed.
There you go.
So, for example, the whole being a hater thing, that comes from back in the day, from being a crabs in the barrel. You know, back in the day, they didn't want us to be united. So they found ways to keep us divided. Whether it was you a house Negro, you a field Negro, or the brown paper bag test. If you weren't as light as a brown paper bag, you couldn't get in. Or it's just it was so many things that kept us divided that eventually that just became our mentality. And so therefore, if I'm in the house and you in the field, do you really think I really care about what's going on with you? I'm in the house, I'm chilling. I'm still a slave, but guess what? I'm not out there in the field.
I got the house benefits.
I got the house benefits.
I would say nowadays, again, it stems down to accountability, because we're all afforded the same opportunities. If you chose not to get up and go to school and get your high school education, you cannot be mad at me for getting mine,
Absolutely.
going on
Exactly.
and moving further with my life, going to college or opening my business, where at the end of the day, you chose to make the wrong decisions. And now you want me to feel bad and help you because you chose not to do the right thing. That's not going to happen. We all afforded the same 24 hours.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, the biggest haters tell the most lies about you.
Yes. So in conclusion, I do feel like, Black Lives Matter, obviously, but we need to really put in the work, and if we want to see change, we have to really go hard, and we have to mean it. And it can't just be when the next, big situation happens.
Yeah.
It can't be the next George Floyd. We don't want the next George Floyd.
No.
We don't want the
No.
next.
There shouldn't
Sandra
have to
Bland.
be a George
It shouldn't
Floyd.
have to be a George Floyd for that to happen. But here's the thing too: there are things happening in our own community that we need to stand up for to prove like we can come together as united front. Because I remember during COVID when George Floyd happened, people wanted to lay all out in the street and block traffic and come together. But then boom, once everything died down, we just went back to our regular life. But guess what? Those type of things are happening in our own community. And no shade, like, of course, we're going to fight that good fight for George Floyd, but we have George Floyd situations happening in our own community that we need to
Every day.
stand up for.
And not
every
even just
day.
George Floyd, because I know it's the minute people say that it's that they're immediately going police officer
Yeah.
but there's situations happening every day that aren't going to allow people to be united.
Yes.
And the fact of the matter is here's the thing, and this is coming from white girl from Mud Talk. Guess what? Black people, you guys have such a powerful, amazing, great energy.
Yes.
And united together, it would be completely unstoppable.
Yes.
And I want to see that in my. I'm about to sound like an old lady right now in my lifetime, but I do. I want to see that. Like the fact that but it has to start with the trauma healing, the
Yes.
stop the hating, and the unity.
Yes.
But just the power that could come out of that. I just hope people can see that.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
I hope you can see that.
Yeah. I would say the biggest step is we need change in legislative.
For sure.
And we need to start there. And like I said, it goes to going to those city hall meetings city hall meetings and city council meetings and listening to what these people are doing and these bills and laws that they are passing.
And having a voice when
And
it's
having
not
a
when it's
voice.
not okay.
Don't just
Stepping
talk
up and
the
saying
talk.
it's not okay.
Yes.
But to do that, you have to be
Yes.
educated. Like
Yes.
you said, you have to know what you're doing. Think about what it is that's impacting things. And get out
It's
there
even
and
just
say it.
showing up.
Yeah.
You can't expect to change if, I'm going to tell you how to do it, but I'm not going to step up and help do it.
And help do it.
And
Right.
vote. Go out and vote.
Yes.
Like the fact of the matter is that when people choose not to go out and vote, and don't
Then
trust
y'all
me,
get mad
the
at what
the
what's going
candidates aren't
on.
always great. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. Like we don't always have great candidates, but do your research and figure out what candidates are going to get you closest to
Who's
where you
gonna
need to
get
be.
you where you
Who's
wanna
going to
go.
help you unite? Who's going to help you have that voice and start cutting some of these systems that are made to separate?
Yes.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay. Sorry, I'm done.
So we have
I'm
another.
really like-
We're getting real passionate.
I
here
get
on
real
Love Talk
passionate
today.
about this.
Yes. All right. So our next question comes from Stephanie. We kind of hit this already, but we can discuss it real quick. What can we do about the teen crime and murders in our community?
Watch your children.
Set boundaries.
Set boundaries. Have designated babysitters. I get you have those single parents who you don't have those older siblings who can help out or other family members. After school activities.
Yes.
Yes.
Know where your children are at all times. Talk to your children. Know who they're around. Understand the company they're keeping
And
the
understand
faith, the mental and emotional and adversaries they face every day within their community,
Yes.
at school or wherever the case may be, even sometimes even in their own home.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they can't come tell you, oh, well, your boyfriend looking at me crazy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You have to be that number one for your kids.
Yeah.
Building that open relationship. I was just going to add to what you were saying about that. Not just being out there and just opening up the lines of communication, but making sure that you are well aware of what youth culture is, because youth culture is always changing.
Oh,
Yes.
And so, when kids start to, because here's the thing, we can build the relationships and we're going to hope our kids are going to tell us, but even the best relationship, they're going to try to pull a couple things past you.
Yes.
Know who your kids are hanging out with.
Yep.
And if they're not hanging out with somebody, okay, tell them no.
Right.
But you can't start doing that when your kid's already on the streets and they're already out being violent. That has to start
From the beginning.
From
From the
the
beginning,
beginning.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I would say get your kids in structured programming.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy when I see people that get on Facebook and they'll say, who having a party tonight? And then, you get responses, but then you won't have
It's
that.
WTM. Don't you know that?
What's that?
What's the move?
Oh, what's the move? Oh, see,
This is what educate yourself on youth culture.
Thank you.
WTM.
So,
they say that, or
they will say, they'll say
Yeah.
what's the move or who having drinks tonight, whatever case may be. But then you won't have that same energy when you want to find out what programs is going on in the city. So for me,
Yep.
put that same energy in. And guess what? Get your kids in these programs, because if we can have 200, 300 kids at a sneaker ball and get dressed up, we can have 200, 300 kids at somebody's program. Like,
sure.
I just feel like we need to get our kids into structured programming. I don't want to hear, and this is what drives me crazy, I don't want to hear, we need more programs. We need more programs. Do you know how many damn programs we have in this community, in our city here where we live at? But people don't take advantage of it. They pay attention to what they want to pay attention
And
to.
it's got to happen. It's got to start. It's got to be a thing that starts early.
Yes.
Get it started.
In the
early.
same way y'all pay for those sneaker balls and the dresses, the shoes, and all of that, invest in your children's mental. If it's a program for self-esteem and they want to charge $5 to get in, have that same energy you pay
Then
when
you
you
pay
pay
for
$30
Exactly.
to get in a sneaker
Yeah,
ball.
I mean, like your
Period.
programs. What do you charge? $7,500.
We charge 80. We charge $80. But even with that, we do an HBCU tour every year. We do a
Right.
college tour every year, and not the parents that I have this year, but I've had parents before. Like when I told them about how much the trip was, they like, oh, that's like it's 300. Like, oh my gosh, like that's so much.
Well, here's
But
what I'm
then-
saying.
but
How much
then-
are those shoes?
How much are the shoes?
Yeah.
Or guess what? You're complaining about the $300, but I just saw you posting pictures of your kid at sneaker ball,
That's what I'm saying. Like
where
that's,
the dress itself or the tux itself
and
probably
that's a
costs
whole
$300.
school year, right?
What?
Your program. You're going.
So the
essentially
$80,
whole school year.
so the $80 it lasts the whole entire
You're
school
covering
year.
a whole school year of consistent programming, 2 days a week, getting academic assistance, getting lessons that are about life.
Community
And I'm not
tours,
sitting here.
all of
I mean,
that.
your program's great. I'm not promoting your program
Yes.
specifically, but these programs, a lot of them are low cost. That's low. 85 is low cost for a whole year or free.
And see, that comes from, like I said, once again, it comes from young parents having young kids at a young stage, so they're keeping up with the limelight.
Red and I are about to disagree on this real quick because I was.
No.
But I mean, I
No,
was a young
seriously,
parent.
no.
Guess what? I got my kid
No,
involved
I'm
in
saying,
their brother. You know what I mean?
this,
That I could.
this time of age right now,
Yeah.
like it's
I wouldn't say
different
that's
from your
always
stage.
the case because
No.
I was a young mother.
But-
Yeah.
I had
but
my
I'm not
daughter at
saying back
17.
then. I'm saying like right
No, and
now,
I'm saying
like,
right now too. I have an 18-year-old daughter.
it's-
So I get it. Like I had my daughter at 17. She's 18 now, and I was one of those young parents who still wanted to get my daughter into programming. So that's not always the case just because they're young. Sometimes
no,
they're not.
not
You're
No,
saying
no,
that
let me
mentality.
finish. Sometimes they're not always knowledgeable. And again, as a community,
Yes.
we have to provide unity
Correct.
and
Right.
promote
Bring them
those
the
resources.
resources.
The same way y'all promoting all white
Yeah.
parties,
Yeah.
promote the stuff for the
Exactly.
kids and
Absolutely.
resources
Yeah.
and things like that. That's my whole
And
point.
sometimes put your stuff aside so that your kids can go do some of
Yeah.
that stuff. You know, because
Yeah,
I think
right.
sometimes
Exactly.
we tend to make a
Exactly.
priority of our own
Yeah,
stuff.
but
We're
it-
not
But I
making
think
that
that's
a
what
priority.
Red was saying. Red was
Yeah.
saying that with this generation and the young moms here, their mindset may not be that. It may simply be going to the all white party.
Yeah.
So they're
I mean,
not,
I-
so they're
I
not
was trying to
focusing
say,
on
yeah.
getting my child in program. They're focusing
Right.
on
Yeah.
going to an all white party
I
or sneaker
see,
ball
I
party.
see that happening. To be honest with you, and what I do, I see that happening with young parents. And I see that happening with middle-aged parents. I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's a simple lack of the seeing anything outside of ourselves sometimes
Mhm.
and seeing the long-term consequence because it is a
Right.
young parent thing. And I've seen mid-40s, early 50s parents doing the same thing
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
it's too much
they
time,
wanna-
too much
they wanna
effort.
Keep up with the Joneses.
Correct.
I can even say for myself with my program, I tell parents at orientation, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not a 2-day-a-week program.
Yeah.
We are active. We do community service. We go to conferences. We go out of town to Detroit and African American Museum, all that stuff. So if you think this is just going to be a program where you drop your kid off for 3 hours and you just gonna pick them up, if it's too much for you, you can just exit right now because it's gonna be
Right.
too much. Don't even worry about filling out
it
the
takes
paperwork.
dedication.
And you're going to be moving. And guess what? I've had parents fill out the application, and once we have orientation, they don't come back.
Yeah.
Once I tell them all the things that we're gonna do, they like, oh yeah, I it's too much for me. One, they may not have transportation, which I understand, or simply it's just too much. It's
Right.
it's gonna take too
But the
much of your
fact of the
time.
matter is that that's where I think what you're saying is like the programming's out there. And yeah, so there might be some reasons why, but the fact that there is transportation available. You just have to
Yes.
find it.
You just have
It's
to
how
find
much
it.
do you want to be able to impact that? And also it goes back to also being the village. The fact of the matter is that sometimes maybe the programming's not it, but if we have an appropriate village that's willing to step up and say, okay, I'm seeing that so-and-so is struggling right now.
Mhm.
I'm going to step up and I'm going to pull their kid in with me. I'm going to bring their kid into positive activities. I'm going to take their kid with me to youth group or to,
Yes.
I'm going to be the one that's going to drive this kid along with my kid to the sporting event
Yeah.
or to the programming.
Right.
Sometimes that's part of being the village.
Yes.
Exactly.
If you have the ability, step up and help somebody who may be struggling or may not have the age or mental capacity
Yes.
Right.
to understand that that's what their kid needs.
Yeah, because it doesn't always have to be programming. Like
Yeah.
you said, it just mentoring matters. And mentoring doesn't
Yeah.
have to take place inside of a building or inside of a program.
Yeah.
Mentoring means I'm going to take some time out of my week or day or whatever and pour into this kid. It doesn't mean, oh, well, come to Impact or come to this program or whatever 2-3 days a week and get your mentoring there. Mentoring can be from anybody.
Literally, let me put you in my car, drive you with my kid to McDonald's. I'm going to get you some ice cream. We're going to chat in the car on the way.
And that's mentoring.
And that's mentoring.
That's it.
I just wanted to add to this because it would be really bad of me not to add this. Mental health is a thing for kids too.
Yes.
And so if we want to figure out how to help what's happening in the community, we have to acknowledge that kids do struggle with mental health and we have to be willing to get them that help.
Absolutely.
Nothing's more frustrating than talking with somebody who adamantly says, I'm not getting my kid mental health care. And although I am very big on the religious community, and I think it's important, sometimes it needs to be a little bit more than just going and having one chat with a pastor.
Yes.
It needs to be actual mental health. Sometimes that one chat with the pastor and some prayer is all the kid needs.
Right.
But just understanding and recognizing that mental health is a thing and it impacts kids. Because the amount of adults that look at me and say they're too young, they don't even what problems could they possibly have? And that I'm
never
not
know.
joking.
You
That
wouldn't.
happens.
It
all the
does.
time.
It happens very often.
And I just want to look at them and be like, well, do you want me to start and say that it starts with you? But I don't. I smile and I'm professional.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you as a licensed professional, been doing this for years, mental health matters for kids just like it does adults.
Absolutely.
And they need help just like we do.
All right.
Sure thing.
All right.
I was
Oh,
going to say
go
one
ahead.
more thing. I was going to say with the after school programs and things like that, please make sure it balances into something that your kid can do in the future or have a future with, not just having fun.
Yes. And also something they can benefit from. So
Exactly.
don't just, I'm going to put my kid in baseball and need something to do.
And
Your kid
don't force them. Yeah.
Your kid don't even like baseball,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
maybe they need to be in a self-esteem program rather than playing baseball. Put
Right.
them in
Or a
programs.
group counseling program.
Yeah,
that they can
counseling
work on their
program.
mental health with
Yes.
other kids their age.
Put
or
them in
something.
stuff that they are going to benefit from and not you just dropping them off because you want to get rid of them.
And letting them have a say-so in it. Because
Yeah.
guess what? They don't have to, the life that you didn't get to live that you really wanted to live, they don't want to live that life.
Not at all.
They might want to live it a little bit, but they don't want to live that whole life.
Not at all. All right. Well, transition away from the kids.
All right.
All right. It's time.
Are we done with kids? For
Yes,
good?
it's
Okay.
time for grown folks. Now. I've been ready.
Mhm.
All right. So we have a Facebook question that comes from Brandon Moore. Brandon actually was on the show before. He was
Yes.
when we did Ask the White Girl down at the R&B
Okay.
Fest. So this is that Brandon.
All right.
So what's up, B?
Oh,
So
this was that B.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So he said on our Facebook Live earlier, he said he would love to hear about Toledo men bashing versus women accountability. He said women will bash Toledo men as if there is a better, greater men somewhere else. He said, I'm not defending all guys, but ain't shit men is all over. He said women accountability for okaying such a toxic from said men, but won't look in the mirror when shit don't go how they want it to go.
And then I said to him very abruptly, who hurt you?
yes.
That sounds a little personal, but I feel what he's saying.
I'm agree with Brandon here because a lot of people feel like, oh, and I hear this all the time. Oh, the men in Toledo ain't shit. It's past 9 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Oh, it's way
it's been
past
past 9 o'clock.
I think we already dropped at least 2 F-bombs.
Yeah. So I hear this all the time. Oh, the men in Toledo ain't shit. No, sweetheart. Maybe it's time to look in the mirror and look at the ain't shit men you're picking. And because as a female, I do see that sometimes we tend to put ourselves in a box and oh, this is our type and our title. And we were taught that growing up to where now if somebody asks me what's my type, I can't tell you the type I have. Long as they treat me nice, respect me, and you know, do what I need to be happy as a person,
Yeah.
that's my type.
Yeah.
It's not a way you look or the superficial things we were taught growing up
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Well, I think that grass is greener mentality happens in a lot of areas. Like FYI, the grass isn't always greener elsewhere. So ladies, let's stop being so hard on the men. Like the Toledo men ain't shit. Where are you gonna? I'm with it. Where are you gonna go to? Where are the men that are shit? That are the good
Who are
shit?
the
Give me
shit?
wait, did we say this? The shits. The shits.
They're with the
Did I-
shits.
The shits. They're with the shits.
No, the good shit, not
The
with
good
the
shit.
Not
shit.
with the
Not,
shit.
I don't know. We had this whole conversation. I still don't understand. But where are those? Like, tell me where you think you're going to find those men. Because I promise you, what's really happening in the end is that you're letting the fact that you're choosing the wrong people and you're trying to blame it on everything around you. And really, you need to look in the mirror and be like, if everything else around you is not working, it's probably you, not them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you said, you also have to think about the men that you're choosing. Also think about where you go when you see or find said men.
yes.
Like if I'm going to go in no shade, it is what it is. You going into the hood and not saying ain't no good men in the hood, but we already know that your pickings is very slim.
But here's
You
the
know
thing.
what
I
I'm
don't even
saying?
care.
So you have
can
to
be
be
a hood guy.
That's
You can
fine.
be
But
a
I'm
hood
not
guy.
saying I'm not saying they're a bad one, but I'm saying
Yeah.
be conscious of where you're going when you think you're going to find
Like
the man
I've
that's the
seen,
shits.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple who met in a bar who's married to this day, 14, 15
because
plus
they
years.
met in a spot where that's what they were looking for, right?
Well, no, let me
It was
finish.
that
Okay,
chemistry.
so I know a couple who've met in the bar and they've been married for, you know, umpteen years,
Yeah.
and then you get other people who meet in the bar. Sometimes that's not always everybody's intention.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It comes down to the person, not the location.
Yes.
So 9 times out of 10, when we go out, we're looking for a good time. We're
Yeah.
having fun.
We're not looking
So
for love.
you meet somebody in the bar,
Yeah.
you're agreeing to be their fun time,
Yes.
Yeah.
good time, not for a long
Right.
time.
Yes.
You guys have to have those conversations. And it's all about communication.
Yes.
And then turning around and blaming them and telling them they ain't shit when it doesn't work out. That's not a them problem.
Oh, and stop having expectations.
Yeah.
You let yourself down if you're expecting a higher level from someone who hasn't shown you that.
Mhm.
Talk
And
to the
I think
gents.
you actually hit it right in the head. It's the lack of communication.
Very
Like of what the actual situation is.
right.
What the
Like, you know, you said,
expectations
are we a fun time?
Because as
Are
a
we a
female, I go to the
relationship?
bar. Oh, I'm
Are
here
we?
to have fun, and oh, if I meet somebody, I meet somebody. But then here goes a guy. Oh, I'm about to get drunk and I'm fucking,
Yeah.
and that's just what it is.
Right. And so if that's what you're gonna do as a guy, be real. Be like, I'm gonna get drunk.
Again,
and I'm gonna
yes.
fuck.
Honesty,
Yeah.
communication. Tell me what it is up front.
Yeah.
but
it
also,
really is
but
a
also,
breakdown.
but also with women, also be honest and real with yourself. So with that being said, if you know that this man is just simply trying to fuck, don't think that you're going to try to fuck him into a relationship.
And then turn around when he doesn't want a relationship.
turn around
And
when
say,
he
this
doesn't
guy ain't
relationship.
shit because he's all he is a player. He's just trying to fuck. You know, he's
You knew
Nope,
that when you
was
met.
your
Yeah.
fault.
Oh,
You
and
should've-
Toledo women
you
love
sh-
having OSD Detroit dudes that's good. But what you don't know is he got mama issues and he hiding a whole wife on the south
But
side.
and here's,
Right.
Don't play with him.
but here's
Not
everything.
the
Guess what?
South
There's probably women in Detroit
Side.
say there's probably women in Detroit over here saying these Detroitian ain't shit.
Exactly.
Because
That's
it's
my
not
whole
about the
point.
people. It's about what
That's
you're
my
doing as
whole
an individual.
point.
Yeah.
That's my whole
So
point.
maybe it's not the two men ain't shit. Maybe, as in the words of Cat Williams, he said, maybe you need to stop wondering why the men ain't shit and wondering why you ain't shit.
Yeah.
Because why are you attracting a shit?
Maybe
man?
it ain't me.
But but
you.
here's the thing. Guess what? I also think that your ain't shit might be my golden treasure.
Yeah.
Because the fact
Yeah.
is that you just have to know that not everybody's for everybody and stop saying, well, and tainting that person's image.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because just because you're not for me doesn't mean that they're not for me.
Exactly.
But we also have to understand too that a man is going to change for the right woman.
Yep.
Period, point blank, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So a man who may not be ain't shit, he might be the shit for the right woman.
Well, and I don't even know if I like the change. I think that it'll be the right way because you can be who you are.
Yes.
I think that's when you find the right one. I think if anybody has to change, and it's not everybody should change. You should grow with your partner.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, if you have to change who you are as a person, you are not with the right person.
Absolutely.
Because you can't make people be who you
Yeah.
want them to be.
Because
Yes.
if you do, it's not.
They
gonna
have
last
to
long.
want to
Yeah.
be that
Yeah.
for
for
themselves,
themselves
first and foremost, and then for you.
And as
And
a
that-
partner, you support that
Yes.
growth. But you don't
Yes.
tell them you have to change to
Yeah.
be who I am.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't even say
Exactly.
change. I would say do better.
Yeah.
Growth.
That's what it is.
It's all
Yeah.
about growth.
But and then at the same time, because we talked about this on the live earlier, women have to give men the space to grow.
Exactly.
So if you
Exactly.
come and say,
Not forced.
I want you to be more honest. I want you to communicate more. I want you to express your emotions and do this. But then we get into a fight and then you call me a punk ass bitch.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You didn't give me
hitting
you
the
didn't
nail
give
right
me
now where I
no
wanna
you didn't
go.
give me the space.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
didn't give
And
me
but
the
you know
space.
No
what?
space,
It
no
goes
time.
both. It goes both ways. It
Yes,
really does.
absolutely.
So
Girl-
can I
girls
It does
dive
go both
into
ways, though.
Yeah,
It does.
it does go both ways. 'Cause-
Can I
'cause guys
dive
do the
into
same
the
thing.
controversial post I saw this week because we're
Yes.
we're running
This
right
is what
into
you were
topic.
going- Yeah.
Most men are emotionally attracted to men and sexually attracted to women, and this is how I feel about it.
Wait,
Men are-
sorry.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it again.
Yeah, say it
I'm
again.
gonna say it again. So the post was most men are emotionally attracted to men and sexually attracted to women.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like when you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't always make it easy for that person to come and talk to you. So yes, it might be easier for them to talk to their homeboys, but I don't feel like that makes them emotionally attracted
Mhm.
to men. I think that makes them comfortable in their vulnerability with their friends versus you, because like one of you just said, you made that post or you made that comment and called them a punk ass
Yeah.
whatever. So then they're not willing to open up with you because they can't trust you with their emotional baggage.
Absolutely.
Are you saying?
I've
Do
been
you
through
think? Do you
that.
think that?
I've
Okay.
been through that. I've been through that. It's been times where me and my kids' mom, I would have more comfortability with going and talk to one of my homeboys about my situation,
Mhm.
about the argument that we went through, instead of me just sitting down with her and talking,
Right.
because I feel like it was still going to be a heated argument. I'd rather go and sit down and talk to one of my homeboys because, excuse me, because I feel like they understand more.
Mhm.
They've been through it. They give me advice. So there's nothing, more attractive to me with being with my homie. It's just that's where my
It's comfortable.
I actually
that's
read-
where
I
my
actually read that.
comfort was.
Yes.
I heard that very different than what you just interpreted that. I heard that post as a man, I'm emotionally attracted to another man because there isn't all that in-depth and baggage shit going on. Whereas like I can just like, I don't know if you ever, I'm not a guy, but like I have a lot of guy friends. I watch them hang out and there's not a whole lot of that in-depth shit happen. We're just being us.
Yes.
But so like the way I read that is like men are emotionally attracted to men because there isn't all that analyzing. There isn't all that let's talk about this and that and this and that. It's like let's just be boys. Let's just be out with the boys.
But
Exactly.
we can talk about
That's
the
the
same.
same-
but you
yeah,
can
that's the
talk,
same
but you
thing
can
I
talk
was
about
saying.
it.
That's the
shit.
same thing I just said.
Yeah.
They're comfortable. It's
Comfortable,
that
yeah.
comfortability
Yeah,
to
like-
where they can go to their homeboys and
Yeah.
talk about what's really on their mind and what
Yeah.
they're really thinking without that judgment or criticism that comes
Yeah.
back and what I call like, takes a negative effect on the
Yeah.
relationship.
'Cause
I look at
whenever-
it as a way less surface level. I look at it more surface than
So-
what you just said.
So Summer Walker's new album just dropped today, by the way, in case y'all didn't know. It's called Clear 2. But
You already listened to the whole thing.
yeah, I did.
I
I'm
feel
gonna have
like
to
it's
check it
two
out.
Yeah.
times.
So, but she said something on her song today that really resonated with me. And she said, you want me to, so we all are in this space where we're being soft parenting, or just being gentle, just being
Yeah.
soft, right? And not soft like you weak or whatever, but just calm the
We'll
fuck
go
down.
gentle.
We'll go
gentle,
gentle.
yeah.
Okay, but she said soft. But she said, how can you want me to live a soft life when you give me a hard time?
Yeah.
Okay. Period.
Summer Walker, she just
Yes.
summed it up.
She just said that.
I
You want me to be soft, but you giving me a hard fucking
Don't
time?
expect me to be your piece if you can't be mine.
Exactly.
Right.
So
I'm
women,
not bringing you sugar, flowers, and roses
Yeah.
if you bringing me motor
Shit.
oil and bullshit.
I just said
Not
shit.
the motor
not
oil.
motor
Shit.
oil.
Motor oil.
No, because men, okay,
Yeah.
men really love playing victim to circumstances they create.
Yeah. And I was wondering
Not all
the way
of
you,
us.
I was wondering
Not
the way you-
all.
no.
I'm not gonna say all.
The way you
but
said that though with that article, do you think it's the other way around with women? Like women are more, because I've had a lot of my women say I am way more emotionally attracted. Like if it wasn't for the sexual aspect of it, I would totally just leave and be with a woman. And that's what, so I'm wondering if it's the same way that way around, is that there's that emotional like different connection versus like kind of like what you said with the men.
I mean, but there are some people again who identify in the community. They may say I identify as whatever, because of the simple fact they do have an emotional attraction to that
For sure.
sex, but they don't want to have sex with them. And there are people, I
Yeah.
believe it's called being pansexual. I
Yeah.
could be wrong.
It doesn't matter what sex. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what sex
sex
is.
is
If you
human.
are a cool person, I can relate to you.
Yeah.
Then we're dating, but they're not having sex though. But I don't
Yeah.
believe it's called pansexual.
I was actually.
I believe it's called
yeah,
demisexual.
I wasn't going like even that route. I was
Yeah.
just simply saying I wonder if it works the other way around because I feel like it probably does.
Yeah.
because women tend to understand women because and maybe guys tend to understand guys.
Mhm.
So it's a lot easier to deal with the emotional part of that with our own gender. And I would assume they were talking specifically about straight relationships in that article. I don't
Yeah.
know, the whatever you were reading, right?
It really didn't. It really didn't too much touch on
Yeah.
a specific situation, but
Yeah.
that's how we all can interpret it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm just like like Summer said, if you want me to live a soft life, don't give me a hard time.
Right.
And
Exactly.
don't say I want you to express your emotions and all this other
If
stuff.
you want
And
me
then
to
if
be
you-
you turn
submissive,
around and just call them a pussy.
yeah,
Exactly.
if
It's
you
gonna
want
be
me
a
to be
punk ass.
submissive, you have to give me that space to be comfortable.
Correct.
Exactly.
And the other way
You
around.
have
I mean,
to let
yes.
me open up on my terms.
Yes.
Yes.
My time.
But we also too, and this can be regardless of man or woman, again, we have to allow people that space to grow because for instance, we all got our shit going on, but I may be working on my shit or have worked on my shit. That
Right,
person may know.
exactly.
So, and we don't even know. So I'm bringing you into my space. But the thing about a relationship needs to be the space to grow together.
correct.
It cannot be like, well, damn,
One-sided.
it can't be one-sided, or
Not
you
at
can't be
all.
like, I saw somebody say on Facebook, like, if you not healed, then don't come talk to me. Who is 100% healed?
You are not gonna.
Nobody.
You ain't perfect.
Whoever said that, you're gonna be alone for a while.
You're gonna be alone for a while.
What did I saw something on Facebook too. It was like somebody had posted a meme that it was like some days relationships are 50-50 and some days are 80-20. And then some days are 20-80. And it really just depends. And that's how you grow.
Yeah.
Because some days I have to recognize that I can't give my 80 to, like I can't give 50.
Right.
I can give you 20 and maybe not even 20, but I need you to pick up the 80. And then you know what? When I can give you the 80, you can go ahead and have the 20 or vice versa. And I think that people don't give people the space for that. Sometimes people feel like their partner needs to be on at all times.
Yeah,
It's
And
not
you
gonna
can't.
happen like that.
And I can say
not
that's
gonna
the
happen.
relationship I seek because sometimes I may need you more and you
Yes.
may need me more. And if we're doing that together collectively, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll
think
work
the-
better like that.
I think the
yeah.
hardest though in the relationship, that's just being truly real, is when you're both at the 20%. And I
Yes.
think that's where some of maybe that stuff he's talking about comes in. If I'm at 20%, you're at 20%. Nobody can be at 100%, and that's when I think you have to really understand that you have to give the person grace. We have to give each other grace, and maybe just do us for a while. And that doesn't mean that you're not shit, and that
Mhm.
doesn't just means that right now we can't be 100%. We just
Right.
have to be able to get through this time
That
together.
20 and 20 will turn into 100% as long as we keep that 20
The
together.
20 together.
Yes, absolutely.
And keep working. Yep. I
Yep.
like that.
We love it. All right. So this one came from Tierra Armstrong. We love Tierra. She was the first guest we ever had on Mud Talk, episode 1. So we love her.
Whoa.
So she was on the live that we did earlier, and she said, because we were discussing about drinks and stuff, and she said, well, apparently she saw this morning that men can't drink smoothies either. So if you know, it's a big thing going on, like men can't eat hot dogs, can't lick ice cream, can't drink margaritas,
No bananas.
and now
No
apparently we
smoothies.
can't drink smoothies. So the discussion came up of where did this come from and why?
Did you find out? Why
It
did you
comes
Google
from
it?
ignorance.
ignorance.
Said that.
And
Because I told it's because
said
they
that?
think it's like swallowing some jizz.
No, who said we can't drink?
I'm
a
googling this
smoothie?
right now.
I
I'm
done
googling this.
seen white man on the beach with the little shorts drinking smoothies, or who said we can't drink a smoothie? I pour some liquor in my smoothie.
We all do.
Yes, I
You
just
feel
feel
me?
like we've
especially them Taco Bell slushies.
Oh my
oh
God.
my life. Give me
I
that-
just feel like we've gotten worse. Not everybody, but some people are really stuck in the old mindset of. So one of the biggest things that I'm not a fan of gender roles. I'm not a fan of it.
No.
I feel like do what the fuck you want to do. So I'm not a big fan of like, well, girls got to wear this color and boys can only wear this color. Or girls can only do this, or boys can only do that. Do whatever the fuck that you want to do. Yeah, so gender roles and all that shit, I'm not a fan of it. So I don't know if that comes from where we feel like men have to do this and women can only do this, but it's 23. If I want to eat a big long ass hot dog with a glizzy
Shove it
with
down
some
there.
ketchup and mustard,
Let it
okay,
just drip.
that's what we gonna do. If I want to lick a damn ice cream cone all over, that's what the fuck I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
If I want to fucking drink a smoothie or a margarita, that's what the fuck I'm gonna do.
Listen,
And again-
I just found a smoothie for arousal, just FYI, testosterone boosting. And when I looked that up, all it comes up with is smoothies for manpower, smoothies for men, Smoothies.
See, look, you can,
There's smoothies for men
yeah, you can
everywhere.
have a protein smoothie. You can have
You can have a testosterone
yeah,
boost.
It's
Testosterone
just
smoothie.
blended
All
fruits
time.
and vegetables.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
grow up.
People
And I-
need to
Gates do it.
stop.
Yeah.
Kevin Gates
Grow
do
up.
it.
I saw this
Clark
girl
do
on
it.
this girl posted on Twitter. She was like, she went on a date with a guy, and she didn't get him a second date because he drank a margarita.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like
I was like,
tequila's
what
no
did you want?
black
You wanted him to
woman.
pound a bottle of Hennessy
Hennessy.
on the
And
first
I-
date?
my
Oh, I
answer
heard
was she was
that
trying to
too.
get that dark.
Because
Fifth
and he
and
told her
Hennessy.
he didn't like beer.
Yeah.
What's the big deal? I don't like beer.
She wanted that dark because she was trying to get that dark love. She was like,
She
she's
was
like,
trying
I
to
want
get
that all
something.
night. Give me that dark
She
liquor. I want
wanted
that loving all night.
she wanted the domestic violence that night. That's what she
Well,
wanted.
I don't know. I see some
She
guys
might
have some
get it.
tequila. And, no, I think that stop it. Just stop. I don't know
Yeah.
what's happened. Just Jesus, stop.
Just yeah.
Let guys eat whatever phallic looking things they want.
That's
And
like
suck
saying
down
I can't eat
smoothies.
no pineapples. Like,
No, you should eat pineapples if you want.
Women want us to
We
eat pineapples.
all-
yeah,
pineapples.
but I'm just saying, like, hey, I'll tear up a whole
You
pineapple.
should. That's good for your health.
Your health, your
For your
pH,
health. With your-
your pH.
And any
Well, yeah.
partners that
Yeah.
are around you would appreciate that.
Yes. All right. Does anybody else have any Facebook questions or question that was sent in to them? Because if not, all right.
Nope, that's
All
it.
right. So we're gonna go ahead and pay some bills. We're gonna take a commercial break. And when we come back, Shay has her Shay with the shit. It's been a
Oh,
while.
yeah,
Shay
I'm
with the
excited.
shit.
It ties in, so I got y'all.
Yes. So
Is
Shay.
it pineapple?
No.
Oh.
Don't tie into no damn pineapple.
Glizzy and good knees. No, I'm just
Well, you're,
Double
you're
G's.
speaking like a good night, Glizzy. Good knees, pineapple.
Hennessy. We got
I'm
all
just
types of
saying.
shit.
Hennessy. Hey,
I'm about to pull up to the Toledo Wing Truck and give me a glizzy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
Well, so you can do that.
Where do you
'Cause
get a
you're-
Glizzy?
I don't know.
All right, y'all. We about to go ahead and pay some bills, and we'll be right back here on Mud Talk. Mud Talk is sponsored by Stormy the Social Assistant, Ramba Mamba Jamba Karaoke Party Bus Experience, Many Faces Podcast Studio, Her Academy of Beauty, Makeup Medic Mobile Makeup Artist, Uniquely, Swilt Products, Fame Studios, SB Geek, and Rita Armour with Key Realty. Go ahead, scan the code, and get tapped in with Mud Talk.
Hello.
Yo, what's good? We back.
What's good, y'all? We are here back on Mud Talk. I want to say shout out to Village Academy and Many Faces Podcast Studio for being the official home of the Apple Charted Show, Mud Talk Podcast Show.
Try it again.
Yes, we did. We almost cracked that top 200. So we've been working really, really hard, hustling, grinding for you guys. So, but we appreciate everybody who tunes in to Mud Talk every single week and every time that we have a show. And again, we want to say shout out to PS360 Studios for also being the official sponsor of Mud Talk for the show this week. Remember, if you want to get tapped in with with the Project 360 Studios. Here we go. You can get in contact with them with p360studios.com or hit them up 419-540-8252.
And if you want to sponsor, we have our next episode, which is our finale episode. Hit us up.
Yes.
We have sponsorship packages all the way that ranges from $15 social media shout outs all the way to sponsoring our entire next season.
Yes.
You can sponsor us to come out to your event. You can sponsor White Girl to come to your business. You can send us products. We will sample them right here, or we'll sample them throughout the week and talk about them. There are so many options that you can do. Take advantage of it. Thank you,
Yes.
Project 360, for taking advantage of that.
And remember, once you sponsor, it's out there forever.
And I will say, I was listening to on my way down to Cincinnati to see my son for his birthday. I was listening to our podcast, and I really was thinking, I was like, man, they're gonna get this forever and always. I was listening to episodes from back in the season, and those, they're out there. I mean, they're on the Apple charted Apple podcast. That's what I was listening on.
Yes.
Yes.
It was it's crazy. A couple things. Number one, it's crazy that we're gonna have a third season, y'all. Like season 3 is coming. Because we got one more episode, and then we're gonna take a little bit of a break, and then we're gonna be back like the towards the end of summer
For full episodes. You'll see
Yeah.
some
Yes,
some
yes.
some
You'll
of
see
us
some
here
stuff
and
here and there.
We got
Yes,
some
some stuff here
ideas.
and there. Yes,
So-
but we
for
are going
summer.
into season 3, and then we're going to have our 30th episode, which is coming up, our season finale, which is going to be our 30th episode. And yeah, I know it's crazy. It will be 30 episodes that we've
30
done.
episodes.
Yes.
And you
That's
know,
crazy.
hit us up if you're thinking
Yeah,
next
if you
season
guys-
you got somebody good that you want us to talk to. Hook us up with them. We'll
Yeah,
try to get a
if you
hold of them.
guys
We'll
wanna
get some
get
good
on.
guests.
Yeah, if
But you
guys
gotta have
wanna
something to
get
talk
on-
If
about.
you want to be on yourself, you can always reach out, inbox us multiple ways. We got the Mother Talk page, inbox us 419-827. I think it's
8255.
8255. Let's, you know,
8257,
let's go.
Yes, definitely
Yeah.
do that.
And
And-
remember, if you want to be on the show, you gotta have something to talk about. And if you're a business and you want to come on the show, that's one of the sponsorship
Yes.
packages.
watching the older episodes when we came to Many Faces podcast studio, I was watching the one we did with Julius Derrickson,
Yeah.
and I was just like, man, the growth.
Yes.
Like the growth of that show to like now, I'm like, whoa, like we've come so
We
far.
are growing, we're changing, we're
Ooh.
trying to give you the best that we can.
I was watching that interview and I was like, damn, Ty, you come a long way.
That was good though.
It was the
information.
interview was
Yeah.
good. It's just you can tell like
The difference.
it's the difference.
We
So
learned about sound. We've had a lot of good.
we gotten our sounds together, we've gotten our camera angles right, we've gotten the lighting in the studio
Kind of.
together.
Visuals.
That's just
visuals.
because I've been out in the sun more. Don't
What?
don't talk about the real life. That's just because I've been out in the sun.
Yes, we've added clips and videos. Like we've learned so
Audio.
much about this.
Yeah.
So
Everything.
I'm super excited for season 3 because we're gonna bring in
Yeah.
some dope shit.
Yes.
So
We coming home. We coming so strong. Like y'all don't even know. Like,
Stay
Yes.
tuned.
stay
Yeah.
tuned. All right. Well, since y'all still tuned in to Mud Talk anyway, we about to get some gems dropped from Miss Shay Renee over here because it is time for Shay with the shit. And what are you dropping on us today?
So
Yeah.
this week's topic, we are talking about peace.
Ooh.
Yes. So in a relationship, it should go both ways. Be my peace if you want me to be yours. And when it comes to peace, I like to think of what I thought of an acronym for peace. So for the P, positivity. We have those positive affirmations that not only do you should give those, of course you want to receive them. So it goes again both ways. You attract more sugar with shit.
Ooh.
Period.
Ooh,
Okay.
Damn, whatever
So-
I'm at.
Yeah.
We need that.
And I'm gonna say it again. You attract more sugar, more with sugar than you do shit. So if you be
There you
sweet
go.
to
Now I
me,
got you. At first you said it, I was like, no, but I got you now. Yes.
if you're sweet to me and you know you're
Yeah.
giving me what I need, of course I'm going to provide what you
Sure.
need. It's a well-oiled machine.
And
Okay.
but doing it without the expectation that you're going to get
Yes,
it back. 'Cause if you
in
do it
return, yes.
selflessly, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah,
Doing it
sometimes
selfishly-
not in a positive
Yeah,
way. Yes,
selfishly,
yes.
it may not.
Okay, and then for the E, we have equality. Provide what you require. Be fair. Put yourself in other people's shoes. You can't always selfishly think, "Oh, I want you to be my piece. Be my piece. Do this for me. Do this for
Yes.
me." It's better to give than it is to receive because, like she said, once you're doing those things that you want in return, it comes back to you positively ninefold over.
People who are appreciated do way more than you could ever.
Yes, because if I feel like I'm running myself to the ground and I'm being unappreciative, feeling unappreciated, I'm no longer want to do those things. Not only do I no longer want to do those things, I no longer have the
Yeah.
energy or the
Right.
mental capacity to do those things.
Yeah.
So yes. And then we have the A, acts of service, and we just discussed that. So if I'm doing this thing for you, or if I'm being this person for you, please be that same in return when I need it the most.
Absolutely.
And I feel like too with acts of service, like you said, like earlier when you talked about gender roles, like don't just come into your relationship expecting that, oh, you're gonna do that because you're this, and I'm gonna do that because I'm this. Like, have a conversation and figure out what those acts
Men
of
like
service-
gifts too.
Yeah, and figure out what those acts of service are that you want to have done, and
Yes.
talk about that.
Yes.
You know?
And it doesn't necessarily have to be gifts. If you see I had a long day,
yeah,
run my bath water, have the kitchen clean, have the
Yeah.
kids put to sleep, have the dinner done.
Back
Do something,
massage.
yeah, back massage, something to
Fold the
take the
laundry.
extra load off of
Yeah.
me. Make the bed, clean the
Yeah.
room. One less thing I have to do when I come home.
I saw on Facebook yesterday, one of my Facebook friends, she cut the grass, and she was like, I cut the grass because, and I don't know if this is the first time doing it, but she did it because she's like, I know that my husband has been at work all day. Tomorrow's his day off. He's not gonna want to cut the damn grass. So guess what? I'm going to go ahead and cut the grass. Now, mind you, with that, of course, back to gender roles, most people think women shouldn't be cutting grass, but guess what? Clearly in that household, they have an equality thing. They have a 50-50 thing. So if I know, or she knows that her husband has been at work for 12, 13 hours all day, the least I can do, guess what? I'll cut the grass one time.
Yeah.
That's,
I cut
or I'll
it.
cut it every week
That's
if
the
that's
same.
going to help you have a better
that-
week.
have a better week.
that's
and
the
that way you're
same
gonna,
as
because you have more to give.
yeah,
Yes.
that's the same as men. Like, hey, if we see our woman has been at work all day, wash the dishes,
Wash
Yeah.
dishes.
do some
Fold some
laundry.
laundry. Yes.
That falls into
know?
knowing when to be that 80 when your partner feels like that's
Absolutely.
20.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, like I had the other day. I was like,
You came back
yeah.
on with the
She
shit.
pulled that
I
all the way
love
around.
it.
I had the other day, I was like, it's just been a rough time. And, something that means really well when you're having a bad day is if somebody steps up, and I shouldn't have to ask you, expect it. I shouldn't even have to tell you I'm having a
Yeah,
bad
I
day.
should.
Right.
Yeah,
As your
you should
partner,
know that.
you should look and
see
say,
that
you're
off
rough right
rip.
now. Let me help you.
Right.
And I'm not saying then do it and brag about it. I'm just saying you do it. Maybe you don't even get acknowledged for it because they can't give you that right now.
Mhm.
But trust me, it's going to be noticed if you're doing
Yes.
it without expectation.
Yes. And I feel like that's when it's most knowledgeable. Like,
Yes.
because
That's
I
most
didn't have
important.
to ask, and you saw, and you acted,
Yeah.
you did,
And you didn't turn around and be like, did you see that?
and I didn't have to
Yes.
and I didn't have to
Yes.
nag about it,
Yeah.
or exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all. Okay, so C, communication.
Oh, Lord.
Very, very important in any relationship. I don't care whether it's friendship, but again, we're talking about a romantic relationship. Listen and internalize. Don't just listen to answer. Listen, internalize what that person is saying. Put yourself in their shoes, and then formulate a response. Or
Mm.
and not always
Yes.
do that response have to be verbally or right away.
Mhm.
Respond in action. I heard what you
Yes.
said, and I'm correcting this, or
Yeah.
I'm doing that, and I'm taking initiative and showing you I heard you.
Right.
Yep.
And that's just that
Without
goes a long
ever,
way.
again, having to be asked.
Yes.
Because honestly, you can tell me I'm sorry all day long. You can
Yes.
tell me I'm
Sorry's not
going to
gonna do it.
change. But unless I turn around and see that you're actually sorry or you've actually changed, it doesn't mean a whole lot.
That
Yes.
you've learned from
The
that
best
behavior
apology
is where
is
I
change
appreciate.
behavior.
Absolutely,
Exactly.
for sure.
There you go.
Said it again.
The
The
best apology is change
Yeah.
behavior.
yes, there
Ja
you go.
Morant.
Okay.
Wow, you brought that full circle too. Ja Morant.
Ja Morant.
So we don't want to see
Put
you
that in
flashing
a
any
rap
more
song.
guns. Ja Morant.
Flash that shit at home.
Don't flash it at all. Get rid of that fucking
Flash
gun.
it
You're
on
getting yourself in
IG,
trouble.
man.
Don't do that shit on IG.
Ah,
Okay. And
Oh,
then
we
the
got
E,
this.
explore growth.
Yes.
Never be too complacent. I don't ever want to say in my relationship, oh, I got this on lock, or oh, they not going nowhere. I don't want to ever make anybody feel I'm taking them for granted. I'm too complacent. No, I understand that there's always room for growth, and I'm going to come to you and ask you, how can I be better for you?
Yes.
How can we accomplish this goal or that goal? And we're going to move forward collectively. Not, oh, I got this. Oh, they're not going nowhere. I'm still going to do what I want to
No.
do. No, I'm always open to growth, and I know that I'm not perfect.
help me help you.
Exactly.
And how do we allow them to grow without trying to turn around and say, well, I'm mad because you're growing and I'm not.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of times in relationships, one person's ready to grow, the other person's not ready to grow at all. So they're trying to hold them back.
Yeah.
Right.
Because,
And we
misery
also
loves
have
company.
to, in relationships, also we can't just expect that other person to change and grow, and then I don't have to do shit.
Right.
And
You
then
know what
on
I'm
your
Well,
time
they
too
got
at
this growth
that.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be me and do
Like I'm
me.
just gonna be
Yeah.
me, but you better do better and you better change. No, we both need to do better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
sometimes with growth in relationships, people can make it one-sided where that person needs to change, but really sometimes it's you too.
And sometimes it's not
yes,
just about
yes.
change. Sometimes, I mean, in life, we're growing as humans. And to have that partner there to grow with you and to support that growth, whether it's educationally, whether it's growth as a parent, you know, like you had talked earlier about how I'm growing as a parent. And so supporting them and whatever that looks like for them, but not just growing as in growth doesn't always mean change. Growth means becoming the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be.
Yes,
And your
Yes.
partner should be your number one cheerleader for that.
Absolutely.
yes.
Okay, so in conclusion, I'm gonna say this: peace start within. Do not expect someone else to be your peace if you aren't happy with yourself.
That is the word right
Absolutely.
there.
and
Yes.
and don't expect peace where you leave turmoil.
Woo.
Those are the two words right there.
Damn.
That's where it starts.
That's a-
that right
That's
there
a
is where
clip
it
right
starts.
there.
Yes.
I'm gonna clip that tonight.
Yeah. That's where it starts.
That's what's up.
Because it starts here.
Absolutely.
All right, that's all I got for y'all. That's Shay with the shits.
And she's always
With the
With the
shits.
shits. You already know.
And I hope that you go back and listen.
I
to
can
that,
be
'cause that's-
cool or I
Better
can come
listen
out of
to
a
that.
bag. It's up to you.
She came out
That's
of
the
bag
good
on
stuff.
that one.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna
It's
lie.
up to- you came back real strong. I like this
Okay,
shit.
then.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what's up. All right. Well, y'all know it's the last Friday of the month, and this is where what we always do. We call it Fuck Yo Feelings. Yes, it's Fuck Yo Feelings Friday, and it's where we've been holding in shit all month long, and we got to get it out. So we haven't done an FYF in a very long time because we've had some very special guests on the show where we just been trying to behave. Okay, but this today it ain't that kind of show.
We are
So
not behaving.
we are not behaving. So does anybody have any fuck your feelings that they wanna say today?
This.
Oh, well,
Man.
Go ahead.
Go ahead
I'm
then.
about to probably offend some people sitting at this table, but fuck your feelings if you're somebody who chooses to back into every fucking parking spot and you hold up the traffic in that parking spot because you have to back into that parking spot
Talking
and you
to
have to
Miss Shay.
straighten it out and then you got to pull out. Like at least learn how to back up the first time. I'm sorry, this has happened to me at least 20 times this week where somebody like pulls in, backs up, pulls in, and I'm sitting here waiting like you're taking all my time. Just listen, you don't have to back in every spot. It's okay. Pull through.
She ain't talking to me because I get it right on the first try.
Pull through.
I pass my maneuverability. I get it right on the
She
first
said,
try.
"That's my
And
shit,
I back
man."
into every parking spot because when I'm ready to go,
You're ready
I'm
to
ready
go.
to
I'm
go.
gone.
Oh, I'm okay with
You
that.
only gonna see my dust, okay?
I'm okay with that if you don't hold up all the traffic trying
Nah,
to get your ass in that
one
back
and
to
done.
I don't
parking spot.
care.
I don't
nigga.
even
made
need
it
the
out.
review camera. I don't need the
Yeah.
camera. I'm one and done.
Yeah, okay. Well, then I'm not talking to you. I'm just saying, no, just don't hold up traffic.
I'm all about, since we on that topic, fuck all the people. If you see this big ass parking lot, you do not pull up next to me.
Right. Thank you.
Like, do not fucking pull up next to me. There's this big ass parking lot and all these parking spaces, and you gonna pull up next to me. Now I gotta pull up another parking spot.
And then extra tight too.
yes.
So I can't get out of my
Yes.
Can't
car.
even open,
Yes.
open up my door, nothing like that.
I was at Kroger on Wednesday, and I swear to God. So y'all know the Kroger that's on Monroe Street. It has like the two side parking lot,
yeah,
like the
you
split
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was on the other side, and this man is all these parking spaces, and you gonna pull up to the one next to me? Why, sir? So I got back in my car and I pulled my car up and got the fuck away from him. So fuck all the people who do shit like that.
That was a good
Those are
one.
some very
Yes.
unserious ones.
Yeah.
That was my-
No, I can't stand that shit.
Uh.
And fuck all the people with them little bitty ass cars when you're trying to find a parking spot.
Oh,
And you like,
yes.
damn, that's a spot. And guess what? It's a fucking Honda Civic
you-
or a Kia. Or
If you have an
something.
itty bitty car, you don't have to pull all the way into the spot. Make it so we can see the ass of your car when we're driving down, because you just got me real hopeful. And I almost actually hit a car when I was in Cincinnati for that. I went to go turn it. I was like, there's a short car, and I almost hit him.
Now you got to
Because they were
bag
pulled
up.
all the way up.
Right,
Yes.
right.
just
So
Let
fuck
us
all-
see your car's ass.
Yes.
For me, I'm gonna say fuck your feelings if you don't know how to answer your phone or return text. Again, communication in any relationship is number one.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
What about you, Red? What you got?
I'm gonna say, going back to what I said earlier, fuck all the people who is hating on somebody else's success.
That was gonna be mine
Yes.
too. That
You
was
know,
one of mine.
If you don't like how I'm moving, how I'm grooving, how I'm being achievable for myself, I'm managing myself, I'm bettering myself. If you don't like it, fuck how you feel. Simple as that. I don't care. I got a middle finger in the air. So
Just one.
no, I got two of them.
Two. He's like doing
Both
both.
of them.
He's
You
doing the
feel
Stone
me?
Cold Steve
Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah, throw me another one. You feel me? Like, yeah, fuck how you feel, man.
Yes.
I'm doing me.
And also people that will refuse to acknowledge the achievements of other people just
Yeah.
because
Yes.
they're
They
upset.
hate us because they ain't us.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's that. I'm gonna say fuck all the people who don't have good intentions. For me, whenever I go into a situation, like if I'm meeting somebody new or whatever case may be, I generally go into meeting that person with an open heart because I feel like what you put in is what you get back. But when that person does something bad intentionally, that shit pisses me
To,
off.
like sabotage you.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or just do some shitty shit. And it's just like, damn, like I was coming into this being a real friend. We kicking it, we hanging out, and then you go and do some crazy shit. That
Oh,
means
man.
the whole time you didn't have no good intentions. So
No.
fuck all the people with them bad intentions because that shit will turn a good person into bad. So lucky for me, I continue to remain blessed because I believe I am God's chosen one. Okay. But I continue to stay blessed. And for that, I thank God that He gave my heart enough space to love and to love
Yeah.
extra. So even when somebody do me wrong, I just cut you off and keep it moving. But that's not going to change me from giving my love to all my people. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
I have mine's along that same lines too.
yeah.
Fuck all the people who only want to utilize you for what you can provide for them.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
And,
a
and,
good
and,
one.
and that to me has just been one of those, like, I am a kind giving soul. And if you're not going to come at me and contact me and celebrate me with when I'm winning,
Right.
and you're only ever coming at me when you need something and want something. Like if you're
Yeah, don't
calling me
love
or
me when
texting me
I'm-
and my next line has to be, what do you need?
Yeah.
That
Yep.
means you're not coming at me with the right intentions. And you're taking advantage of, like you said, people that have love and kindness in their heart.
Mhm.
And, fuck you for that because you're taking
Yeah.
advantage of the good people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's like, all right, don't love me when I'm down and hate when I'm up. Fuck all them
I
people
like
with
that
the
one.
Yeah.
with the bad vibes.
Yes.
Don't bring them bad vibes around me. I don't need that. I can do bad all by myself.
Absolutely.
You
Hello.
got bad on lock.
Hey, I'm just saying, bad. It ain't for me.
Yes.
Fuck the hypocrites.
Fuck all of them.
Yes, like don't expect me to be one way towards you and you being another way towards me. I'm giving that same energy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
keep that same energy.
Absolutely.
Fuck all the people that don't let men eat hot dogs and bananas.
Damn,
And smoothies.
I'm eating
Absolutely.
a glizzy.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but for real though, like let
Yes.
people just eat what they want.
Damn.
You want to shove a hot dog down your throat?
Right.
You let them.
Fuck the people who gotta judge other people. You are not God.
Yeah.
Look in the
Yeah.
mirror.
Hello.
Mm.
Thank you.
Let me know when your slate clean.
And guess what?
Right, though.
Summer's coming, and we want those hot dogs,
Yeah.
especially the nice little grilled ones.
Okay. Burn it a little bit.
Yeah.
Put some sweet baby rays on it.
Okay.
Good.
Some
Oh,
mustard.
some mustard.
Listen,
Yeah.
ooh,
Shit.
I'm hungry.
Where am I
we about to eat
Hold on.
at?
Put the relish on it.
Where's
Put
your
the relish
hot
on that
dog place
A
Sir,
good
right
motherfucker.
here.
hot dog. I don't know.
Let's go to Coney Island tomorrow. It's over
Ooh.
with.
Oh, there's
Downtown
that.
Coney Island?
Ooh, it's a lunch date.
Where in Detroit?
No,
Downtown.
downtown.
Is it
What's
Coney
it
Island
called?
downtown?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's been one
What's
Really?
it called?
for
Yes.
years. Coney Island.
The beef dogs down there? now?
Over the
Yes.
bridge?
No, like
No.
right down by where the
Right by
Fox-
Oh, the
Used
hot
to
dog.
be-
Place. Yeah, okay.
by
okay.
the bus station right there, like
Yeah.
where the lineup
Oh,
used
yeah,
to be.
yeah, yeah.
So you're talking
Yeah.
about the one on the east side when you right over
Yeah.
the bridge.
That's
Yeah,
Tony
not that
Hawk's
Coney
on
Island.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no.
No. There's a little tiny itty bitty hot dog stand over the bridge.
Yeah.
What
we
is that?
ain't talking about
Tom's?
Tom's.
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 Oh,
Okay.
no,
No, that's
no,
a
we
barbecue
ain't,
place.
no,
There's an
Tom's is
actual hot
racist.
dog place.
We ain't fucking with
What hot
Tom's.
dog place?
I promise you, it's right over. It's right by.
We're not
Tom's.
talking about idea.
No, God, no.
We
No.
talking about Coney Island. Shout out Coney Island. Downtown.
That's funny. All right. Well, that was.
I got one more.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Fuck your feelings if you not tuning in to Mud Talk right
Yes.
now. Okay.
Right now today.
Listen,
And then
if you
share it
don't
with your
listen to
friends.
Mud Talk, if you don't share this podcast, if you not hit to Mud Talk, fuck your feelings because you not living right.
And then
Hello.
tune in, and then we'll unfuck you.
Yes.
We hit that unfuckable button.
Unfuckable button.
No, but we love all our listeners, all our viewers.
Appreciate y'all,
Please
man.
share, like, subscribe.
Yes.
You should try to do one of your noises over there.
Yes, this was definitely a fun viewers' choice
Yeah.
Yes.
episode.
Yeah,
we-
thanks for tuning in and giving us
Yes,
stuff to
thank
talk
you
about
so
too.
much. And thanks for
We
those
appreciate
questions.
y'all.
Yes, thanks for the questions. Thank you to everybody.
Without y'all, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. And we've been 2 seasons strong, and we're going to go into a
Rocking.
third. We're going to be adding some more
3.
stuff, some more content, and all of that good stuff. But yeah, man.
If you have any suggestions, comments, anything you want to see right here for the
Whatever.
next season, please drop your comments below
yes.
on our Mud Talk page, inbox us, text us, call us
419-827-8255.
419-827-TALK. We are here to listen.
Slide right into that Mud Talk DM.
You know it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you to
White girl
everybody.
get nasty at night.
Hey,
Hey, that's gonna be the new
This is-
segment.
this is
Y'all don't
only-
even know.
The white girl nasty.
White girl nasty.
White girl nasty. You don't even know what that's like.
Sex talk. Well,
It's
this-
I
white
didn't
girl
even drink beer
nasty
today. They're trying to get me to have liquor talk on beer.
Oh, God.
That is not okay.
It's liquor talk.
Yes. Shout out to everybody who listens to us on.
Beer almost came over my nose.
My God.
He said liquor talk all sensual and it just went
Oh, God.
over my nose.
Shout out to everybody who listens to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora Radio, and Sirius XM satellite radio as well too. We appreciate you guys so much. Without you guys, we wouldn't be on those platforms
Yeah.
at all. So it takes a lot of support to really get onto those platforms like Pandora and Sirius. So we really, really appreciate you guys for doing
You
that.
know what? Fuck your feelings if you're not sponsoring us.
Hello.
We did. We meant to add that to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just added it, so
And fuck your feelings if you don't stay tuned to everything we got coming up with this summer. We talking
Yeah.
back to
Season
school
3.
giveaways. We got a whole lot planned
Got a
for this
whole lot.
summer. Stay tuned for the next episode. You'll hear all the details.
You sure will. Absolutely. And our next episode is our season finale. It's the last episode of the season. So, we definitely going to turn up and have fun. We're going to talk about some of our favorite moments from the season and all of that good stuff. Maybe we'll get some of our guests to come back on the show
Yeah.
and see whatever, chat it up with them.
Or at least send us a video to play
Send
for
us a-
y'all.
Yes,
Yeah,
play it.
most
Yes.
definitely,
A
most
video or
definitely.
something. Yes.
They can tell us their favorite Mud Talk, memory. So
Memory, yes. I like that. We gotta
yes,
do that. We gotta do
yes,
that.
we're definitely gonna do
I
that.
like that. All right, y'all. Well, I'm Big T,
And I'm Shay Renee.
I'm Miss Amy.
and it's your boy Red.
and remember, Mud Talk is the only show that brings you latest in music, news, and fashion, and the only show that keeps your ears to the streets.
While you grind in the 419.
All right, thank y'all so much for listening. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks for the season finale.
Yeah.